Mother, tell us a story.
A story about what?
About us. Our story.
It's all about black love, black crime, black's love, black shine, black's cry, black's march, the black story torn all apart, told to us through slavery, just 10 black leaders so we can see a partial truth, their perspective, the whole black story stays so neglected, untold, unrung, untoyed, unsung, black hoops, black loops, black troops, black groups, black salute, black stars, black cars, black jokes, black votes, black hope, black's dope.
This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is our story. This is our story.
It's all about black truth, black youth, black cause, black flaws, black tours, black laws, black power, black's cower, black change, black's pain, black pride, black lives, black panther, black answers, black rivals, black survival, black's thrive, black's rise, black fame, black's change, black solution,
Revolution,
black family,
solidarity,
black's reign,
off the chain.
black trust, black lies, black unity, black scrutiny, black glory, our story. It's all about you and me and you, and how we see our story true to us, not through another's eyes. It's ours. We have to stand and rise. Come good. You and me and you, and how we see our story true to us, not through another's eyes. It's ours. We have to stand and rise. Black behavior, black saviors, black movements, black improvement, black omission, black tradition, black community, black beauty, black friends, black foes, black trends, black froze, black names, black's gain, black skin, black kin, black college, black knowledge, black humility, black civility, black poverty, black sovereignty, black creation, black civilization, black solution,
Revolution,
black family,
solidarity,
black's reign,
off the chain.
black glory, our story.
This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is our story. This is our story. This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is the story of our lives. This is our story. This is our story. This is our story.
To be continued.
Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power. 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 That's right. That's what we want. Black power.
This is not a regular. This is that boom, blah, blah, blah. Some they call it secular. I just call it black, black, black. Dottie. Bring that army back, back, back. Malcolm X and Kwame. If you wanna talk to me about black, black, black. Haile Selassie the first. Niggas, niggas, let's talk about that, that, that. Kaboom! Yanni Maroon and all the Maroons. Let's talk about that, that, that. The real Underground Railroad. The first subway for black, black, black. The freedom train begins with your brain. Get in on track, track, track. Whether justice or injustice, how do you react, act, act? Can you stand there laughing when they shoot us in the black, black, black? This is what some rappers sound like every time they rap, rap, rap. I'm raising up the red and the green and the black, black, black. Even with no cops in the hood, we still hit click, click, clack, clack, clack. I cannot forget my ancestors just because I rap, rap, rap. Look at me from top to bottom. KRS is black, black, black. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach up, reach out. This is what black about. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach up, reach out. This is what I rap about. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach up, reach out. Too many selling out. Get up, get out, reach up, reach out, lift up, lift out, get. Time to ask the question now. Are you really black, black, black? It is not a mystery. We under attack, attack, attack. If you're chatting fuckery, you whole our people black, black, black. Time to put aside the fantasy and deal with fact, fact, fact. This is not the time to be talking all that crap, crap, crap. Those that talk that crap, crap, crap are those that don't fight. Back, back, back. You can say what you like, but real skill I never lack, lack, lack. Black is more a consciousness, the way you think and act, act, act. Yo, get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach up, reach out. This is what black about. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach up, reach out. This is what I rap about. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach up, reach out. Too many selling out. Get up, get out, reach up, reach out, lift up, lift out, get out, lights out.
We have stayed here and we begged the president, we begged the federal government. That's all we've been doing, begging, begging. It's time we stand up and take over. Take over. We have to do what every group in this country did. We got to take over the communities where we outnumber people so we can have decent jobs, so we can have decent houses, so we can have decent roads, so we can have decent schools, so we can have decent justice.
Peace and much love, and welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. Happy Father's Day, and now our acronologist, Minister G Simone. Peace.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so I'm going to jump right into the welcome because the teacher is ready today to jump on. So see you in a minute. Welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am Minister G Simone, the acronologist. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society that preserves the subjects of hip hop culture, not just the objects of hip hop culture. And we will learn more about that in today's lesson. Also, today we celebrate Juneteenth. June 19th, 1865 refers to the day when enslaved African Americans learned of their emancipation. Freedom, freedom, freedom. We are also celebrating Father's Day, just as someone and I just shared. But before the teacher begins to speak, I'm going to share a short poem. What is the best man? A father is the best man. One who provides and protects. A father is the best man. One who motivates and inspires. A father is the best man. One who teaches and leads. A father is the best man. One who shows up and shows out. A father is the best man. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and a special acknowledgement to our hip hop father, DJ Kool Herc. Stay healthy, wealthy, and aware, and in love. The H Law. Peace. The teacher.
Yo, peace, much love, what's up? It's your brother Lifted, representing the Temple of Hip Hop and Flow Faithfuls. Right now you're tuned in to the BDP.1 Parking Lot Cipher. Check this out.
Another suffer, I'ma make it pop, homie, just watch. Death ripping on his track with the action and miss the spot. Jot another to the page for my timing is up. For a while, I've been down and out, stuck in a rut. I got to break out, my fake out, don't leave them confused. Stay away from that propaganda, that ain't news. Shit ain't new, they gon' do what they intended to do. False flagging operations, but pretending they true. On a mission here to keep the people cold and afraid. Quick to put your ass away if you go stand in their way. Or come with something to say. Whatever happened to that freedom? A piece of an illusion from a vision that's fleeting. Man, they ain't opening their phone calls or picking up letters. Defeating any opposition that's gonna make the shit better. Inside a lobbyist pockets is where you're finding their profits, and it's all according to the law. So how can you stop it?
It's okay, it's alright, it's all good, it's all love. Here once again, giving thanks to above. Focus on myself, got no reason to bug. From the north side, and we repping it tough, like point blank. You don't really want it with us. Young cats don't know, so I'll be the plug. Supply you with the product that you know you could trust. Yo, big up to my peeps, don't know, yo, what up?
Hip hop is in the hearts. This is the perfect time. This is where it starts. The perfect cause of rhyme. We get permission to the sacred flow. Wholeness is divine. Time to run the show. Harder than the sun's fair. Stronger than the grizzly bears. Mighty lion of Zion. The one to keep your eye on. Chosen one of God. Tetragrammaton. Sober living clean at the mucky pond. I got the wisdom tongue. Spreading ancient knowledge. Open heaven's realms. Peaceful like a cottage. Talking with the burden and the sisters angelic. Delicate and mystic. Truly psychedelic. Arrive to this earth like a whirlwind twister. Adjust your eyesight. Fix it in the mixer. Burning so bright. I shine my holy light. High velocity when I spit it on the mic.
Check it, Ra Haru, let me tell you what I'ma do. I'ma uplift inside of you. I'ma uplift you into the higher you, so you understand what I am trying to do. I'm not trying to do, cause this is the proof. You look at my life and that's what it do. You gotta be inspired, takes you much higher. Peace to the temple, gods of the choir.
You see, I'm trying to profit when they can't stop it. They want to sweatshop it. I'm trying to rooftop this. Roadblocks in my way. I see them every single day. We need a non-stop movement. More than just improvement for all of God's people, not just the top percent. Cause I'm doing the math and it don't make sense. I keep doing the math. That shit don't make sense. I keep doing the math. Shit's still making no sense. But see, first you want to judge me, then you want to hate me. Increase your bottom line. Now you're telling me you love me. Made it your jurisdiction. My greatest competition. The jury and I never even share the same diction. Frivolous tickets in these city limits. No summer programs and safe places for us to kick it. Hollywood want to make me just so they can break me. They want to study me and they don't even want to face me. This is for the struggle. This is for the hustle. This is for your struggle. This is for your hustle. This is for our struggle. This is for our hustle. I'm closer to my dream, reaching it on the double like a whopper, they say. From the Bay to LA, I'm closer to my dream. I'm doing it God's way. I'm closer to my dream. I'm doing it God's way. I'm closer to my dream. I'm doing it God's way.
One love, one love. Check out how we buzz. Look at where we been and look at what we does. Every time I come with flight, I do it from above. And never been a scrub. I always been on top with the game, on top with the flame. And you know I'm insane with the brain, like propane, like boom. That's how we gon' make the impact. And the class in session, cause it's actual facts. Can't one.
Birds of a feather, you know we flock together. Temple of hip hop farther than ever. You can't see it now, but we already building, cause it's love that we got in this community.
Yeah.
Yo, this community, what does that mean? That means this is you and me. But get rid of that for a second. It's I, it's you, we're both I. Catch that one time, hold up, it's all one. Add a D to it to get the job done. Don't forget the A, that's me, that's AD1. I just got the credential, straight from the temple. True hip hopper.
This is how it is, this ain't no Peter Piper. This is the LIFTID. When I grab the microphone, yo, I get so nasty. Please, these whack MCs, they don't have a chance. Yo, you looking whack like your pants fell. Yo, coming through the place, yo, my style's well. I do it like that, yo. I'm trained well by the Most High.
Don't get it fucked up, just get it pumped up. Break the crowd up, let's get this shit up. I'll put the hood on for this hood mentality. I'll bring it back for all the black reality. This ain't no show, this reality. This how we give it every day, it's the mentality. Above, understanding, this is what it is, reprimanding the weak MCs that be planning our demise. Look into the eyes of the real. You don't want to feel this, but you will get killed, blah, blah. The love will kill you. Lush out, this what love gon' do. This is the real with the temple. Get back, J Best, I'm back in the circle.
Back in the circle, back up in the cipher. I go higher cause I'm here to inspire, activate the move in action. And yes, just J Bless, and I'm here to bless. Microphone check, checking hip hoppers from here and there, on tour from here to there. I'm flying here and there, yes, you can stand. It's desire, nobility, and check the oneness. When I go, I flow like water, yes, you must know, cause you must learn. And this is how I flow when it hits the spirit, I flow and I just go from city to city, activate a move and action, cause this is the culture and better be the representative. Call me Rip the Record when I rip on the record. From here to there, this is how we do it. I share the love.
Pencil, scribble on your mind, doodle on your idea, divide countries like Korea. You need a pill like Propecia, can I reach the higher ground like Stevie Wonder found? Preachers keep on preaching, but the world's still falling down. But I got faith. You can't take this from a man. It can make you feel better than the $1 Million Game Show can. And damn, feel the vibe like a carnival ride. Merry-go-round. Pound for pound, you will slide out your seat. Therefore, dancing to the beat with authority. People think it's surpass is going to make it, are the majority. Major, serious like Cake Crusaders. Old school like a Pac-Man. Space Invaders. Undoubtedly, it's the unadulterated, underrated, surpassed flavor. From the Denver, Colorado, it's the wildlife steez. Unique. The gay peas, the nosies, the cream of the crop, the black sheep, the beat. Get out the way. It's our metropolis. Heavy loads like concrete trucks where we be dropping this preposterous. To think that you could get with the temple of hip-hop where we drop our hip-hop.
On the beat we explore, man, this is kind of like a mushroom spore growing into a whole mycelium forest. Then it's gonna come up and give us health, wealth, and knowledge of self when we're off the dome. You know, every time we spit, it's flame on the microphone. Yeah, we don't stop and we don't quit. Instead, we just sit here with our kids and rip it, yeah.
Cool, calm, I don't miss no steps. Cool, calm, ain't no disrespect. Yo, hey, let me spit it like this is true, cause I'm KI00 shooting you. And it's trill as hell when I get on through. It's my time and I'm shining blue.
Before I even get dressed, man, I'm fresh to death. I'll take a second to myself and let my thoughts collect. Bet, bring it any way that you want it, but this is me. I ain't moving with the trends of the time, and as you can see, fly, rhyming MC, R-double-E-P. Tear it up and leave the spot broken down, my G. Cause it's that sound that's free that I'm about to put on display to get the crowd steady moving and vibing a certain way. Y'all can play, but I ain't really got the time for it. My lyrical flask is always filled when I pour it. More is always gonna get given. You can say that I'm fresh, and I don't have to rock a halo just to show you I'm blessed.
Who me, J Solin in the scene, and I've been bringing it, they cleaning it. Yeah, they tell me I'm too mean, or maybe I'm just trying to tell them I ain't trying to fiend for the things I don't need. I've been living in a motherfucking dream. Better believe this, everything I need, everything that I see all around me. It's the G to the O to the I inside of me, but then the D don't decide to fuck with it. The temple's beast, and we coming in this scene. Better believe we looking through our third eye. It's clean, serene dreams is everything we need. Believe this is what we gotta perceive, so get with me. It's just
I'm here right now with my peoples in the room. Shout out from my boy Joey, you heard it before. We come through like Ron, yo, we kick down the door. You want more, explore, hip-hop, it's the sport. Like, you gotta train and get better every day, and this is how we do. Yo, listen what I say, you must learn. On the mic we burn, this is how it is. Your position gotta earn. Give praise to God every day. This is how we gonna do it. On the microphone we slay.
Back in the cipher to take you higher. The name is desire, nobility, so connect the wire. This year is on. I'm taking everything that's mine is more. I'm blessed, yo, and I just want more. I give you that rugged raw, yo, straight from the core. I'm here to give you more, and I'm banging in your front door with the rugged raw, and I'm here to give you more of that love. Cause this is what we bring, it is the H law. The love that comes within, I spread it all around. The energy, you say it all in the cipher, and I'ma take it higher. You wanna know the name, you already know it's desire.
real hip hop is over here. The real hip hop is over here. The real hip hop is over here. Yeah. Life is a dream and I'm the dream master, kicking up cosmic dust in my rapture. Yes, I speak, therefore I am. Life is clay inside our hands. The world is a kingdom full of stars. Carbon beings, that's what we are. Yes, we exist because we can. If life is a beach, I'm playing in the sand.
Love, man. Love. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm old school Denver, like just the fellas. And DJ still look for surpass acapellas. Gray hair in the beard, still fresh to death, so don't trip. Regarded as the north side of Denver Q-tip. So ways out, ways out, ways out, out, out. My catalog of rap songs still get clout, clout, clout. Flav over 40, break it down like this. An acronym for the people that would make the most sense. Forever.
Yes, indeed. That was dope. I was just here just getting my hair together. That was actually pretty hot. Big up to everybody. You know what, Simone, I'll get the oil later. Big up to everybody that was actually part of that cipher. That was actually pretty dope. It made me remember of the, you know, when we was out there, when we was in Jersey doing our thing. And shout out to Time Journey. Shout out to everybody who had something to do with that. That was actually pretty hardcore. And, you know, as you can hear, the rhymes was actually on point. Off the top, you know, some were written, I guess, and so on. But that was pretty hard. That was hardcore. That was pretty dope. So, listen, I got a few things to go over, you know, before we start reading. Welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am KRS-One. As G Simone just outlined, the Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. And of course, what Simone touched on it briefly about the idea of we preserve hip hop by preserving hip hoppers, and that's a special talk we're gonna have today about that, because several things are going on. I'm gonna run them down to you right now. And let me just make sure I'm right here. Just want to make sure this thing is just right here. Okay.
Hold on, get that dread right.
Oh, wait. This.
It's over here in your glasses.
Oh! I see you.
Happy Father's Day, G.
Happy Father's Day to you. Word, you got a fresh one on your oven plate. That's dope. And shout out to all fathers out there. Doing a thing, holding it down. It's Father's Day. It's the best, man. It's also Juneteenth as well. For those that know, I'm just reading through my notes here. I'm gonna run through this. We're not gonna read the whole of the down by law section. We're gonna read a good portion of it and go through that. We're talking about law, but this first half of our study is going to talk about culture and what's going on, what we are actually doing and what we are actually up against these days in the preservation of our culture. So, like I said, it's Juneteenth. And of course, that was a general order. I think it was General Order number 3, which was given by the Union Army at the time. Man, I have a name here somewhere. General Gordon Granger. General Gordon Granger on June 19th, 1865, proclaimed freedom, actually in Texas. The main thing was in Texas. He proclaimed freedom really to the states that were in armed rebellion against the Union. Because remember, when Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, that did not free Africans that were in the North, enslaved Africans in the North. That only freed enslaved Africans that Lincoln had no jurisdiction over. Remember, the South seceded and said, no, we're our own nation now. Drew up a constitution and went after the Union. And that's what it was. So really, you have two nations fighting against each other. That's why it's a civil war. a war within America, but two nations. One is flying its own flag, the other one flying its own flag. One, you know, they drew up a constitution. So Lincoln is freeing Africans of his enemy's party. He's freeing what is called slaves in armed rebellion. The slaves in armed rebellion were those of the southern states, the Confederate states. Those were the states in armed rebellion. The states that were not in armed rebellion were the northern states. That was the Union, or those states that remained in the Union. And those states had enslaved Africans as well. The North had slaves just like the South did. Same situation going on. And racism was across the whole thing. So it's a little scholarly, you know, twist to that Emancipation Proclamation with Abraham Lincoln freeing Africans that did not even really belong to him, had nothing to do with him. This was part of a whole nother a new United States government that rose up. And Lincoln, as a war tactic, said, "You're free," but never really freed the slaves in the North. He said his enemy slaves are free. So now the war was won. Excuse me, the Civil War. Where my water at? The Civil War was won, and now you get this blanket announcement. Yeah. Let me get that. And now the Civil War is won, so now you get this blanket announcement, which is now called Juneteenth. And what's interesting about Juneteenth on that other level is that, you know, again, just because a government declares that you're free doesn't mean that you actually are. Somebody could still have a gun to your back. You could still be afraid of the situation you're in, still flinching around the sheriff when he comes around, or, you know, whatever the previous situation was. And, you know, just think about this. When people were newly free, you know, slavery was a way of life for a lot of people. It was a way of life. So just because the war is won, you're free, doesn't mean you're really free. First of all, doesn't mean you're free in the sense that you might even know that this war was won and you are now free because of the winning of this war. You may not even know. There's no internet in 1865. There's barely newspapers because the country was ravaged. It was Union soldiers, black men and women, and well, really all the Union soldiers, white men too. But the celebration of Juneteenth is black soldiers telling black people that they're free. All Union soldiers were running around saying that, yes, we won the war and you are free. But the black soldier telling it to black families, there's a famous painting on that as well. Black soldier telling it to a black family had an extra to it, had an extra victory added on to that in that sense. Never think that Abraham Lincoln freed black people. That's a lie. Black people fought for their freedom and won. That's the truth. So that's Juneteenth. That's Juneteenth. Let me also shout out last week, the Boston Black Market. We was in Boston last week. Shout out to the Roxbury. Oh, no, not Boston. That's right. Because they had a whole big deal about that. Well, I didn't say that. When these dudes said that, right? They said, right. There's a big difference here. Don't get it twisted. Okay. Roxbury, Massachusetts. Now, we was in Boston, okay? Let me keep it really. We were 12 minutes away from the center of Boston. It's like the way you say, you know, Hollywood and Los Angeles, or Atlanta and, you know, some places nearby. We just call the whole thing Atlanta or the whole thing LA. In this instance, the whole thing's Boston. But no, let's be accurate. It was Roxbury, Massachusetts. And there was a place there called the Black Market with a whole bunch of vendors and Africans. And it was just great. It was wonderful. I was brought there for a weekend. I was brought there for the celebration of the Black Market. Shout out to Kai and Chris as well. And I remember at OG, we did a symposium, a little lecture, myself, at OG, another professor whose name escapes me actually right now, but he was there.
He was there. Wonderful discussion. Wonderful discussion. We got down and came to some conclusions too. Shout out to and also let me shout out Najee, who is also the MC, a young MC who was ripping it, who was there with us as well. He was also on the panel. Keep in mind, this was more like a celebration of African tradition and heritage, and the Garvey was out, and this kind of thing. So we were in this kind of traditional setting where elders, young leaders, and young leaders and poets and so on were all in this one gathering for 3 days, and we got down. It was remarkable. Big up to all the vendors. I thought I said that of the black market, because they was excellent as well. Nice stuff out there. Of course, Simone got caught up with the crystals. Somebody brought their crystals out. That formed a whole nother conversation. And that was crazy. I bought some hats, some other stuff, and so on. We left out of there too, by the way, with the creation of a black market album, Roxbury album, where we want to do that. So I'm going to be pushing for that as well. This is one of the first album announcements I'm going to be making in this call right here, that we are going to, and it's going to wind up being a Boston Roxbury. Ain't nobody, they're not going to allow Roxbury to just have their own album with KRS-One and Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs and others who going to come around. It's going to get kind of big. But we started it right there at Roxbury, off this meeting that we had. How do we keep this going? How do we document what it is that we're actually doing? And so that's what that was. Also in the Boston area, let me also mention Roxbury here as well. Big up to Michael Bivens. Shout out to Michael Bivens. Michael Bivens of New Edition. Had a great conversation with him as well on the phone. I was in town. He called me up. Yo, what's up? Had a great conversation. BBD is doing a new album, and he was actually asking me for some help on that, not just rhyming, but producer-wise. Shout out to Sun One, because Michael Bivens was actually asking me, yo, who does your music, man? Who's doing your stuff? And I mentioned Pascal, I mentioned Sun One, DJ Static, my son Prime. I ran down the list. Everybody on the last album. And he was like, yo, I got it here. Yo, you got to send me a tape or something. Not a tape. He said, send me some music. So this was, it was a great conversation. And so that's Michael Bivens. Shout out to you, Michael Bivens. And shout out to BBD. I do hope to be working on that album, actually. That's going to be a phenomenal album, R&B album. But they BBD is more hip hop R&B. So they wanted boom bap beats. Sing over that and get that off. Okay, let me continue with these notes. Okay, I voiced 3 tracks. I did 3 tracks for Beat Miners this week. Beat Miners is coming. Mr. Walt Evil D, they're coming out with a project as well. Voiced 3 tracks for them just recently, like 2 days ago. Did that with them, but that's when I was in New York. We did a Brooklyn show. Did a show in Brooklyn outside. It got savage, of course. And there was Beat Miners was right there. He slid me a flash drive, and Simone and I jumped on it. I jumped on the hip hop part of it, but they also gave me some R&B. And I was like, what's up with this R&B from the Beat Miners? So I said, maybe sometimes blessings come through you, not just to you. So I passed it off to Simone, and she wrote up some craziness to their R&B sounding stuff. I wrote, of course, to the hardcore hip hop, and that's what it is. So Beat Miners, I got 3 tracks coming with them. I think Simone wrote like two or three to them as well. But for certain, I know I wrote 3 tracks and sent them off, and that's what that is. We're still working on the project. That's Beat Miners. The 50th anniversary of hip hop, y'all. The 50th anniversary of hip hop is coming up. You know what it is. August 11th, 2023 is the official 50th anniversary of hip hop. But I got some new revelations for all of you. Now, let me just go over the good parts before I get to the challenges. 50th anniversary of hip hop. First of all, those of you that was with us at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, those of you that were actually with us during Hip Hop Appreciation Week, you remember we took that course at 1520 with Grandmaster Caz in the actual community center where hip hop actually began. From that time, the owner of the building, the owner of 1520, was there. And there was an elderly lady, if you remember, she was there in the kitchen part. Well, both of them were moved by our presence. The owner of the building called me the next day, not the next day, like about 2 or 3 days, 2 days later, and asked for a meeting and said, yo, you know, what I saw was amazing. And he said, I want to continue this if you can. I said, man, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was going to bring the same thing up to you about starting a teaching course at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, and teaching in sight, actually in vision of putting a hip hop exhibit at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. We got to talking about this off and on. I sent them a letter, a proposal, what it was about. That letter was followed up by a meeting. Myself, G Simone, Son One, Pascal, we all took a meeting with John, actually both Johns, the two owners, for some, their both names is John. I said, how do y'all deal with each other? Well, they have the same name. So it was two Johns that we met with, owners of 1520, cool guys. They want to see something happen, want to make it work. But it's a building with tenants and people paying rent. You can't have, hundreds of people going through this place, winding up on the 8th floor, talking about where's Cool Herc. That's not going to happen. So we had to keep in mind that 1520 is a residential space, yet we all want something to happen there because we know the significance of the building. The building is declared a landmark. That's what we did actually Cindy, who I'm going to talk about right now, Cindy and Herc, but Cindy and Herc got the building to be called a landmark some 3 or 4 years ago through Senator Chuck Schumer. So the world realizes and knows what that is about. And Grandmaster Caz has been bringing tours through there. He estimates that he brought at least 1 million people that don't live at 1520 to 1520 and to the 1600 Park. That's up the block a little bit. He claims 1 million people. He alone brought through. Okay, and his tours are robust. Caz's tours be going on. So after that call, after that meeting with John, we did our thing in New York. Like I said, we did Brooklyn, we did Roxbury, so on. I then took a call with Gloria. I remember I told you the other lady who was also as an elderly lady that was there as well. She was put there by Gloria. Gloria is the head of the tenant association at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. Got on the phone with Gloria. Gloria, what's up? Here's what we're looking to do. Ran the pitch down to her. She wanted it, said, we have got to do this. This is what it is. But she was concerned about the children. And what do they get out of this? The building has kids, teenagers, young people, even elderly people. And so the idea, and because she's head of the tenant association, she has to think about that. People, strangers coming through the building. How do you move the traffic through the building? When do you actually have the exhibit? If things are planned, you could do anything. But that random person showing up, do we need security? All of this type of stuff. So these are the discussions that we were having in preparation for next year, for August 11th, 2023. So the bottom line, the good news to this is that the tenants in the building are with the idea of the Temple of Hip Hop being at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, and specifically the Temple of Hip Hop at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. The building owner, John, was impressed with us when we were there. Just to let y'all know that I think we had maybe 30 of us were there, somewhere around there. Well, he was thoroughly impressed with us as he stood in the back of the room. Caz gave the lesson, and 30 of us took the lesson in with questions and answers and even some debate. He was impressed. That's the building owner, was impressed totally and demanded that we do something back there again. He wanted it for the community. He said this was wonderful. The older lady got back with Gloria. This was amazing. When Son One laid down the prayer, she lost it. The older lady, the older black woman in the corner, she was like, that was it for her, okay? And it was a positive vibe. We didn't tear the place up. We actually cleaned up when we left. So now we have a permanent residency there at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. We can actually say that the address for the Temple of Hip Hop is 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. In addition to that, the two Johns that I'm mentioning that own the building, they own other properties in the Bronx. I'm in discussion with them right now about copping one of these apartments, buildings, which y'all got. Let me get something up in the Bronx so that we can have a place to go. Remember, we was in the hotel when we was up there last time. Maybe we can elevate, upgrade ourselves, and stay at our own house, a temple house or something there in the Bronx, so on. And reason being, too, because we're going to be talking, well, let me go forward with it. Let me go forward with this. So the building is with us. We did that work last week and the week before last, starting with Hip Hop Appreciation Week. We did that work. I congratulate all of you who were there with us, because it was your behavior that got us this position. So why is this important? Because we're preparing for next year, not this year, August 11th, 2022. I'll get into that in a minute. We're talking about next year, August 11th, 2023, is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. We have 1 year to train and build up our exhibit that's going to happen at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. So what I'm going to do is announce a new online teaching specifically for that. It's going to start in September. I'm going to announce it August 11th, 2022. You know, this August coming up, we're going to announce it. Now, we have already marked off this date, August 11th, 2022 and August 11th, 2023. The Temple of Hip Hop has those dates locked in to do our events there. We have those dates locked in. If somebody else comes along, like John told us, nope, they're going to have to, the date is unavailable. August 11th belongs to us now. August 11th belongs to us. So we have to come up with an event for August 11th, 2022. Now, this means that if some of you would like to fly back out to New York, now's the time to start thinking about that. Also, we have a Temple of Hip Hop organizational call that happens on Mondays. And we may have to upgrade that call as well, meaning that I may have to attend a few more of those calls as well, because we're going to get into a real hardcore organizing of the exhibit that we're going to show and the training of the tenants in the building. Let me talk about that real quick. So 1520, like I said, they have young kids there. They have teenagers and young leaders. I say people like in their 20s to 30s. And then you have elders, 50 and up and so on. Everybody's in the building and families live there. They're looking for opportunity as well. So the idea that I'm pushing here is, let's start with the tenants in the building first, which we could have an online course, just like I'm talking to you like right now, which will explain to them how to explain the exhibit. This is the item that's going to go up. Here's what's said about it. Here's why this item is here. Here's the what, when, and why of the exhibit itself. This is offering jobs and opportunity to the 1520 Sedgwick Avenue building's tenants. This is important to us as a Temple of Hip Hop, because what is our motto? We are not just preserving hip hop through objects. We are preserving hip hop as a subject. The way in which you preserve hip hop is to preserve the hip hopper, not just the items and the artifacts or the material culture. Yes, there is a place for this, and we are in support of that. the Universal Hip Hop Museum, and all the other museums that are around collecting objects. That is, you know, we commend that. There's nothing to say to that. In fact, we're going to join in ourselves. But it's not our aim. This is not our mission to collect objects. Our mission is to preserve the subject of hip hop, to preserve the idea, to preserve the techniques that make the objects. And this is so important for us. So when we approach hip hop, we are approaching the people that make the culture what it is, and the techniques and the traditions and the customs that make these products exist. The customs, the traditions, this is what makes the product. The person following some trend, some style, some ingenuity even of their own. This is what's creating these products. But what's happening is that the products of hip hop are becoming more valuable than hip hoppers themselves. And we knew this was going to happen. We knew this, which is why our philosophy is set the way it is. And I'm saying this to you for you to understand this. I'm going to get even deeper with you, so follow me on this. This is teaching in real time. This is what's going on right now. The new game in town is selling hip hop artifacts. Selling, not trading or giving away, not putting in a museum, not any of that. Selling it to the highest bidder. Classic flyers, clothing, turntables, equipment, film, photographs. It's a hot thing right now at this particular time while I'm speaking to you. And as we get to the 50th anniversary of hip hop, there's a robust business that's bubbling under this as well. As philosophers, we're not authorized to judge the business or judge those pioneers that want to sell their memorabilia. And the word is selling. It's not our place to judge, but it is our place to write it down. It is our place to strategize as a temple of hip hop, to strategize against the challenge of our material culture being sold to the highest bidder. All the pioneers are involved in this. All of the hip hop's pioneers are lending and selling. Well, lending is different. That's different. If you lend, you still have it. But to sell your stuff and never get it back, it belongs to somebody else now. This is what we as a temple are challenged by right now. And let me tell you how we are challenged by this in a variety of ways. So hold that thought. Let me finish up with 1520. So everything I just said to you, that's this week's work. We have 1520, we have August 11th, 2022, and August 11th, 2023, which means we have a year to announce our exhibit, our hip hop exhibit, and build it as well. Build it. We have to go to 1520. We're going to redo the little yard they got there, put stuff up on the wall, kind of redo the room as well. They need lighting, this kind of stuff. We're going to go in and make that really a pop-up exhibit. But if the tenants wanted to stay longer, which they probably will, it'll stay up longer. But the community center is still being used, by the way. You know, the tenants still use it for weddings, and they play bingo. Sometimes people, they do all types of stuff in that same community center that Herc used 50 years ago. It's still active. So I just want to make sure that, and this is also for those that are going to join in on the organization of this, okay? That's why I'm saying this to you. Those that want to join in, we have that Monday temple call. Just tune in, get with Sun One. You know where to go to amongst ourselves to get organized based on what it is I'm talking about. And I'm going to call another meeting to go deeper into what I'm talking about, because we're getting the building of 1520 prepared for an exhibit at their building. That's what the Temple of Hip Hop is doing. Those that want to join in on that, that's what our organizational calls are going to be focused on in the future. So, moving on. Let me move on with my notes. So yes, we're still with the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Here now is the second piece. So the 50th anniversary for us as a temple is global. Do you hear me? Global. This is what I want to say to you. Most people are celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop, mostly in film and, mostly in film, basically. I'll run a few of those films out for you later. But they're mostly doing it in film, celebrating hip hop basically in film. There may be a concert here or there in the United States, but the ones who are really pushing the 50th anniversary of hip hop is us. And others know about it, of course, and they're doing what they can do from where they are. But the cultural impact of it, the announcement of it, the consistency of it, making sure everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's coming from the Temple of Hip Hop. And I say that as a burden, okay? Not as some whatever, but as a burden. This is the work that has to be done. Here's an example. So we're going global with this. So put the films aside for a minute. So Chuck D is doing a film. Chuck D is doing a film about hip hop's political impact. Political impact in the world. Chuck D is doing that with the BBC and with PBS. KRS-One has an interview in there as well. A&E, the documentary series, the channel A&E, is working with Paradise from X-Clan, Latin Quarters, who is also the curator of the Universal Hip Hop Museum. They're creating a show called Treasures of Hip Hop. And they're running around grabbing objects, artifacts, hip hop's material culture, and this material culture is supposedly to end up at the Universal Hip Hop Museum as a loan. And because the Universal Hip Hop Museum is going to be changing its exhibits, frequently, so it doesn't need to own really anything. Although it should, I would advocate that it should own something. It should have its own archive in that sense, the Universal Hip Hop Museum. But its mission is really to present hip hop really very surfacely, and we saw that when we were there. What it really is, they're grabbing stuff off the internet. They're taking pictures that people already have, and putting something together. And of course, they're building something right there, then and there, like an attraction that you're gonna go and see, which is unique to the Universal Hip Hop Museum. But we're taking this globally. So what does that mean? That means that in October, the end of October, I haven't set my date yet, but the end of October, I'm going to go to Britain and launch the 50th anniversary of hip hop in Britain. For the year 2023, I'm looking to go throughout Europe and the United States and Europe, because it's easy for me, really. That's the only real reason, to be honest with you. It's easy for me to do this. It's convenient. I can do this. But we have phone calls and organization going out to countries in Africa, I should say cities in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Asia. I'm big on Tokyo in Japan, longtime supporter of hip hop. Tokyo needs a 50th anniversary of hip hop itself. We're looking to call up somebody, if those who are listening to me right now want to get down with this, from Japan. And I only use Japan as an example because Tokyo is so big with hip hop. But you got Thailand, which may even be bigger. Okay, India, Mumbai in particular, the city. They need a 50th anniversary of hip hop. This is what the Temple of Hip Hop is now doing. We're reaching out to the world to celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Who is your cool Herc? Africa Bambaataa Flash, Grand Wizard Theater, whoever. Who is your Run DMC, LL Cool J? Who is your graffiti writers and breakers and b-boys? Who is your rock steady in Africa, in Ghana, in South Africa, in Egypt, in Paris, in Berlin, in, Britain? So starting in October this year, I'm going to make my way over to Britain and set up a 50th anniversary in Britain. I got friends there, and that's why I said it's convenient. I can do this. Paris, in particular, Paris, Berlin, London, Warsaw, even Athens, or what is called Athena. That's the real name of the place. But Athens in Greece. These are places that already have hip hop on the ground, and we can already contact these people there. But I'm going through promoters and institutions like colleges and universities. I have a huge connection there, which tells me, yes, you can do this 50th anniversary globally. King College in Britain will be up for something like this. The British Library does things like this. I'm over there trying to deal with them with that. Maybe Oxford University or Cambridge may want to try something. It's the 50th anniversary, and all their students, and Britain is huge for hip hop. We cannot front on Britain at all when it comes to hip hop. Big up the Slick Rick. But anyway, Britain is a huge supporter of hip hop from the time hip hop has come out, and I mean culturally, not just rap music and so on. Britain has its own history. So does France. I mean, so does all of these countries, really. I mean, really. So we're taking it internationally. The 50th anniversary of hip hop for us, the Temple, is global. Those of you that want to go with me to Britain, you should start saving your money now. We're gonna turn it up. You know how I get down. When we land in London, it's over. Okay, it's over. It's a done deal. And so we're gonna land out there. Probably do the Jazz Cafe, maybe the Forum as performances. Hit up a few lectures, set up on the ground how Britain is going to do its August 11th. I may not be in Britain August 11th, 2023. So I got to do this work now over the winter. I may not stay either. I may go there, stay for maybe 12 or 15 days and come right back to the United States. But I'm setting the tone right there and putting it together there. We may have to go back, like I say, next year, October-ish, next year, we may be in Britain again. We may be in Paris. We may be in Berlin. I would like to tour these areas as well, celebrating the 50th anniversary, which brings a little more than a performance. We're bringing exhibits through, lectures. We're galvanizing hip hop in those areas. It's not like an American artist coming over and saying, oh, it's hip hop's 50th anniversary. You need to know about the Bronx. No, you don't. If you're in France, you need to know about France and French hip hop. And we in the Bronx need to know about it. Okay. If you're in Germany, in a globe, let me just go across the globe, okay, wherever you are, Australia, you Aussies out there, we need to know what's going on. Big up the Zulu Nation out there in Australia. And so this is what we're doing. This is the Temple of Hip Hop, our approach to the 50th anniversary. We're going global. We have our own film that we're going to produce as well, but we're going global with it. So that's going to begin, like I said, I'm leaving this country October, maybe even earlier, but right now I'm looking at end of October because I get this other work done. Like I just said, I'm going to announce in August a teaching for September. Give the teaching in September, maybe 4 or 5 courses online in September, get 15, 20 together, then jump on a ship, boop, I'm over in England, get them together, jump on another ship, probably go to France, Germany, Amsterdam, get them together, and come back to the United States. That looks like the plan. Those that want to go with us, you got to get on that organizational call and figure yourself out. So that's what that is. Moving on. Yep, I got that. We got that. We got that. Okay. Okay. Continuing with the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Continuing with the 50th anniversary of hip hop. In preparation for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, I, KRS-One, will be teaming up with none other than Grandmaster Flash for a classic 50th anniversary album. Yep, you heard right. Me and Grandmaster Flash are going to get together and do an album for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And so we're gonna shut it down. We're gonna shut the whole year down. And we are gonna start this album almost immediately. We're gonna start this album. Spoke to Flash the other day. We've been on the phone off and on. I'm trying to get Flash to do his interview when he walked out of the United Nations saying, I don't want to be part of this. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. I feel uncomfortable. So since then, me and Flash, we're still friends. Of course, you know that. But we've been talking about this. So recently, because it's coming up to the 50th anniversary and we're getting ready to produce our film, and our film is going to show hip hop being declared an international culture at the United Nations. We got all of those tapes and all of those interviews and everything that happened. And so I brought up the Flash again. Yo, I need your interview. I need this interview, and you need to explain how you walked out of the UN and why. So recently, Flash just called me up and was like, yo, I'm ready for the interview. And not only that, we got to do some work together. What's up? So I said, yeah, what's the deal? So we talked up this album over maybe an hour conversation about other stuff as well. We talked about all types of stuff, but we talked up this album and said, you know what? For the 50th anniversary of hip hop, only for that reason, for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, why don't KRS-One and Grandmaster Flash get together and do an album? Flash cutting, scratching, and this album probably gonna have samples on it and all of that. So we got to get some funding and all of this stuff to get this album done. And of course, we're accepting beats as well. I just snatched 2 of Pascal's beats. Pascal, if you're listening, just snatched 2 of your joints. And I worked that over for Flash as well. But we're looking for more tracks, obviously. And this project is to be released at least by August 11th, 2023. That's probably going to be the release date, or it should have been out maybe, August 9th, maybe, or something like that. So 50th anniversary of hip hop is going to have a KRS-One Grandmaster Flash exclusive album with all types of stars on it as well. We're doing the 50 years. So I'm hoping to have people like Coke La Rock on the project as well, all the way up to the young kids today, and that's what it is, and that's it's gonna be a phenomenal project when we finally do it. But it's for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Okay. I said about Chuck D. I told you about that. Treasures of Hip Hop is what the A&E special is called. Treasures of Hip Hop. And I'm going to do a segment with them. Where they discover the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. I've discussed this with Paradise. I wanted my segment. They asked me to be part. I said, well, I'll be part of my segment was, again, about not just the Stop the Violence movement, All in the Same Gang, Human Education Against Lies, which then culminated into the Temple of Hip Hop and us announcing hip hop as an international culture of peace and prosperity at the United Nations. We all signed the document called the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. Well, we have the original document, and I'm comfortable with lending the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace to the Universal Hip Hop Museum, because like you guys said, when we was all there at the Universal Hip Hop Museum, we said, will the Temple of Hip Hop's knowledge be prevalent in this museum? Will you be discussing the 9 elements of hip hop? Will you be putting that for spelling hip hop with a capital H? Rocky said, yes, he will be. And then I concurred and said, no, I will be in this building. Okay, I personally will be in the building, and that means that the temple will be in that building. This is one of those. This is a step in that direction. We're talking big shit. So we got to put your artifacts where your mouth is in that sense. I do have a BDP jacket. I got some other stuff that I can lend to them. We're not selling none of this stuff. We're lending it so that the word can get out and the value can be raised with that, because once it's out and it's a museum piece and so on, it comes back to the owner. It comes back to us. And if the Temple of Hip Hop wants to then display this kind of thing, we have other exhibits that we're interested in doing. I'm gonna bring that up to you as well. We have other exhibits that we're interested in putting forward. The KRS's BDP jacket is just not where we're at, but we own it. We have it. You know, it's there. We don't have to give it to anybody. We have it. The Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. We want more people to know that exists, know what the tenets of it is, and so on. So that's why with the A&E special presentation, we have a docu-series that they call it, the tentative title is The Treasures of Hip Hop. This Treasures of Hip Hop, they're going around to celebrities and finding, rhyme books and jackets and hats and turntables and stuff like that has significance to it. I wanted mine to be about hip hop as culture and what we did to make hip hop culture. So we're going to go to a storage space, probably here in Atlanta, open up the storage space and discover the original Hip Hop Declaration of Peace signed by everyone. And then we'll flank that with UN footage that they can use which explains the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace and why it is important. I think that's important to be on A&E as a special. And that's why we're doing it. So having said that, well, let me say this piece before I go. Well, no. I'll wait on that. Let me finish this up with these artifacts in the 50th anniversary. So I was saddened and shocked the other day. Got a article from the New York Times, which says that Kool Herc's entire collection, his records, his speakers, his turntables, film, clothing, the original flyer of the first Kool Herc party, the original flyer, not the one that we see online, that's supposed to be a fake. The original flyer, which no one has seen. All of this is going up for auction August 5th to the public by an auction house named Christie's. Some of you may be familiar with this. Christie's, an auction house named Christie's. You may be familiar with this. Well, there's nothing else to say. August 5th, Kool Herc's entire collection goes up for auction. And I can't front, I was sad. And keep in mind, we're not even the ones to preserve artifacts and so on. But when I heard that Kool Herc's whole collection and everything is going up for auction for Christie's, at Christie's, it did shock me. It did shock me. I immediately called Cindy. Cindy, what's up? Cindy said, yes, we're going in a different direction, she said. We're going in a different direction. All this stuff is getting sold off and so on. Now, as scholars, I'm not here to judge anybody's decision or what they have for themselves. This is your stuff. I have nothing to do with your property. But in light of the fact that your property meaning Herc, Cindy, is the evidence of the origin of our culture. Kool Herc's turntables, the original mixer and turntable, the speakers that he used. This is the evidence of our culture. This is the evidence of it, of how we started. The records he played, the original flyer, because Cindy says that the flyer that's out there is a fake. It was made from her original flyer, which no one has seen. And she doesn't even have it anymore because she gave it to Christie's to be auctioned off to the highest bidder August 5th. My heart sunk. And August 5th, right now, I tell you the truth, I'm scrambling to try to get together some money. I'd like to be on that auction and at least try to bid for something in that sense. And look at what I'm saying to you. This is not even what the temple is about as a philosophy, as our mission statement. This is not what we're about. We're more with preserving Kool Herc and Cindy themselves than the artifacts that they produced. We're more concerned with the techniques that Kool Herc used to create his merry-go-round. What were the techniques? How did you do that? Let's preserve that as opposed to the turntables that he did the merry-go-round on. This is the difference. But you can't help but think for a minute. I asked Cindy, I said, Cindy, what if this stuff ends up in the wrong hands? And she said, what do you mean? I said, like some rich guy just buys it, or rich person just buys it and just wants it in their house. End of our access to it. It's just in this person's house. It disappears. It's not like another museum's going to buy it. It's not like this. Now, that's, of course, I'm hoping I got a call into Rocky at the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Can y'all do something about this? Can we go in and bid for Herc stuff? Can we do this? At the Temple of Hip Hop. I see, and this is also where we need that kitty of $100 grand, $200 grand, because this was going to start. I don't know but hey, I tell you this: if you go now to these auction houses, even eBay and some of these places, hip hop memorabilia for collectors is the business right now. This is the collector business in the world right now. Hip hop memorabilia. And the pioneers are cashing in on this by having the original flyer, the original this or that, and they're selling it to the highest bidder. Now, like I said, I am in no position to judge, and I'm not judging. In fact, I'd like to be on that August 5th call bidding for some of this stuff my damn self. But this is also why the Temple of Hip Hop as an organization is about what it's about. Because our strategy to preserve hip hop cannot be about its objects. Look at what's happening to its objects. Look at what's happening to hip hop's objects. The preserving of hip hop through objects cannot be the preservation of hip hop, because now you can see for yourself. August 5th, Christie's will be selling the material evidence of your culture to anybody who has the money to buy it. And it's Kool Herc and Cindy that's selling it. So this is where we are. August 5th, I'm hoping to be able to bid some, put my own money together. I'm trying to get 20 up. I'm trying to, get my own money together so I can go bid and try to get a speaker or something. But of course, I got to call into Rocky and the Universal Hip Hop Museum. What are y'all doing? You gonna let any old yoki come and just buy up all of Kool Herc's stuff? And maybe they will. Maybe no one cares. And that seems to be the issue as well. No one really cares. It's about selling it. And this has been my argument from the very beginning, that even with the pioneers of hip hop, hip hop has always been something to sell, always been something to get something from. And this is, and again, I'm not being critical. I'm not talking about Cindy, Herc, or nobody. What I'm talking about is the work that has to be done to preserve culture. That's it. The work that has to be done to preserve culture. Everyone yells, culture, culture. Hip hop is a culture. Hip hop is my culture. But when it comes down to really being disciplined, being a citizen of a real culture, to be part of a real culture, which means you can't, just because the money is there or even the prestige is there, you know the importance of this piece that you have. And so if somebody else is willing to give you $25,000 for it, or $15,000, or $1,500, or $500, if somebody's willing to give you something for your artifact, it's better that you hold it and save it for your children. Then the first 50 years of hip hop, all of the pioneer stuff is being sold in its first 50 years. What about the 100 years? What about 150 years? What about 200 years from now? It's nothing. I'll give you an example. So there's a story about Nat Turner's Bible. When Nat Turner was captured, when he was finally betrayed by another black person, got to put that in history. When he was finally betrayed, when they caught him, he had a Bible on him. That's all he had on him was a Bible. And I think a knife. But a Bible was what he had on him. So they took him, and the rest is history. But the Bible that he had was given to the family, one of the families that he massacred, the survivors of one of the families that Nat Turner had killed, white family. They gave that family the Bible. So that family kept that Bible. Now imagine, Nat Turner killed their family. Okay, mother, father, okay, and the survivors, maybe a daughter, an aunt, somebody, they survived. And they had Nat Turner's Bible in their family possession for 150 years. 100. However long from Nat Turner's capture all the way up to when the African American Museum was being built, or not even being built, when it was opened. Okay, when the one in Washington, when the new African American Museum in Washington D.C. was opened, this family donated this Nat Turner Bible to the African American Museum. Now look at this real quick, okay? This Nat Turner Bible is worth millions, okay? Forget just this Bible from Nat Turner, the Bible he had when he was captured, with his writing in it, some notes he had and all that in it, the Nat Turner Bible, this white family, and they have a story on this. This is not what I'm here to talk about, but look it up for yourself. There's a heart-wrenching story about forgiveness, reconciliation, the entanglement of your past and what your ancestors did and didn't do, and all of that. It's a fascinating story how Nat Turner's Bible winds up at the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. It's a total story of forgiveness, not just forgiveness from the white family for slavery, but Nat Turner killed their family, and whatever you think about slavery, you still killed my moms, dude. You still killed my kid, my daughter. They had to overcome that. I mean, it's a two-way reconciliation. It was crazy. But look, my point for bringing it up is, so this family understood the cultural significance of this to another group of people. They owned it outright. They could have sold it for 2.5, 3.8. If it went up on auction, who knows what it would have got, okay? They could have sold it. They did not. They did not. What they did was they healed themselves and their family lineage. That was worth more to them than the million that they clearly could have got for the Bible. But they said, no, this is a moment for our family to heal and for African Americans to heal, for us to we're never going to sanction you killing our family, but we damn sure understand why. And that's what they were saying. This was a horrible time for everybody. Can we just forgive each other and move on? And of course, some people say, nah, I'm not doing that. But that's what this story implies. It implies that higher level of consciousness. I call it a higher level of consciousness. Because it is. Because it is. Anyone seeking forgiveness, reconciliation, whether you're the right one or the wrong one, you want some higher consciousness. But that's not what hip hop has matured to at our time. Everything with us is for sale. Everything with us is a commodity. Everything with us is about what I as an individual can get. And I don't say this as a criticism to no one. I'm documenting what our culture is like today. With evidence, you know I speak with evidence. I turn to the New York Times and the announcement that Kool Herc's entire legacy and heritage is going up for sale at Christie's on August 5th, 2022. The Temple of Hip Hop is smart in the sense that we're not even preserving these objects. And here's another reason why. You can't. Otherwise, we're going to be spending millions to preserve our culture because we're putting more emphasis on the object than the subject. It's the subject that's creating the object. The object is recording or mimicking or representing the subject. The subject is what the value is. And what is the subject? You. But this is how colonial culture does it every time, and they're doing it to hip hop. It's the only difference is that we're here. We're here. Hopefully we won't fail in our mission, but we're here. And what do they do every time? They show you the shiny rock that's already in your own backyard. This is how the colonists did it. There's a story that says, and I'm paraphrasing, that says, it says, when the white man showed up on our land, we had the land and he had the Bible. A few days later, he's now leaving. We have the Bible and he now has the land. This is the story with Native people. This is the story with Aboriginal people. This is the story with Black people. These colonists come into your culture, then tell you the value of your culture according to their standards. You immediately go for it, and immediately it devalues you, because what they're going to do is take what you made, make it more valuable than the one who created it. So we don't need to see you no more. We have what you created. And this is what we're going to lord over. This is what we're going to say is more valuable than anything. We're going to put $2 million on this item, and you we will give nothing to. Do you hear what I'm saying? They're going to put what you made in a museum, in a place, in a this and that. Put a value to it. $12 a day. Every customer comes in, $12, so that you can see the flyers and this, that, and the other. $15 so that you can see the turntable that Kool Herc used, or this one used, or the hat from this one's video, or the jacket from that one's $15. You get nothing. Nothing. It's not even like hip hoppers are speaking up. The pioneers are speaking up and saying, well, listen, I'm going to lend you this, since you're going to give me this. I'm going to get $1 off every single person walking in this building. You put my face up on that wall. Nah, it ain't even doing that. With all due respect, pioneers are grateful to be in, either you're grateful to be in the museum or you're rebelling against it. I don't have nothing to do with it. Either way, there's going to be a museum, several of them, and people are going to be attending them. Don't matter what you think. There's going to be a museum, and people are going to be attending them. And this is what happened. This is what happened to hip-hop through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now in the new millennium, this is what it is. we are devaluing ourselves by accepting the value of others of ourselves. Lending something, teaching something, even being there yourself and getting money for it. Nothing wrong with that. But not understanding the line between what is your cultures, what belongs to your people, and what you can give away. You know, what you can, you know, I don't need this, and no one else does either, but it's important. I don't need to hold on to it, but it's important. So let me sell it. Let me loan it. Let me bring light to it in some other kind of way, because it's not really, like I'll give you an example of this. Like when I do art, every once in a while, like around the holiday season or something, I may do art. Like I'll get the bug to do art, draw my name. I do things like believe in yourself, love yourself, respect yourself. I do a KRS-One. Sometimes I have the time and I got the bug in me. And I say, let me hit my graffiti right. Let me get my graph hand right and get this done. And then I sell them. I sell them. I give them to my kids and I say, sell them. I just wanted to do the art, really, and get my hand right. But I did something now. So go ahead and sell it. This does not make or break the culture at all. Okay. But I also have my writings, my handwritten writings for the gospel of hip hop. The gospel of hip hop is known all over the world now. Many people have the book. Some live by it. Some study it. We're studying it right now. Now I have the original writings to this, my errors, the corrections, a thought that didn't make it in. I have the original books. I have mock copies, mocked up copies. Some of you from the temple, I know Zen, you'll remember as well. I used to go to Kinko's when it was called Kinko's. Now it's FedEx office. But back then we used to make spiral copies of the gospel. When I had a fresh one ready, we used to have the spiral copies. I used to hand them out for everybody to read and make error corrections and so on like that. I have a lot of those. Some of you may have them. The ones I gave them to you. I have them too. I will never sell those. Ever. 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 Never. Never happened. Never. I understand what that means to the culture. Not just to me, but to the culture. And this is what I say. I'm not judging nobody. Everyone has the right to conduct themselves. I'm nobody's father in that sense other than my own kids, okay? But everyone has to do what they got to do and live with themselves the way they have to live with themselves. And that's the truth. But the difference here with the Temple of Hip Hop is that we are clear that we are preserving and further developing a culture, a nation, a global community unique to us. It's important that you understand who you are. If you are the father of something, then what you have belongs to your cultural children. That's just my opinion. Now, the flip side to this, as I was speaking to Cindy and to Flash, the flip side in two different conversations, the flip side to this is their argument is if we hold on to everything that we make, nobody gonna get nothing. Hip hop would not be what it is if we held on to it and tried to trademark it and patent it. Hip hop would not be as big as it is. That's what the argument is. Flash, same way. Cutting, mixing, and scratching would not have gotten as big as it is if I had a patented it. Give it free to the world and let the world lift themselves up with this. Cindy says hip hop is about love. That's it. Love. It's about respect and these things. Etiquette. This is where Cindy is. This is where Herc is. This is where they are. Give it away for free so that it can so that hip hop itself can flourish and be huge. If more people are handling it, it grows that way. This is what it is. As a philosopher, I am not here to judge, and neither are you. We're here to hear the truth and document it. And so this is the truth as of yesterday. I spoke to Cindy yesterday about this very issue. And this is where she's at. And this is where Herc is at. And by the way, if those of you who have might have heard me say that Herc was, I felt that Herc was under the weather, like his health was not that well, was failing him. Cindy informed me yesterday that Herc is fine. And when I saw him, when I did see him and questioned his health condition, she said that he's having trouble with his knees, but he's overcoming that. He has doctors and say he's an older man, so he's having trouble with his knees and so on. That's what she said to me. So although when I was with her, I saw something a little slightly different myself. But who am I to say? His sister assured me yesterday, because I asked her again, how's Herc's health? Last time I was there, he had a cane. He was, what's up with him? And she said, no, Herc is fine. He's in good health. He's in good standing. So I was saying, what I'm hearing about him being sick with this or that. She said, no, he's well. He's this. So I'll put that out into history as well, and put that on the temple call as well, that Herc is supposedly in great health. And so on. And I will have a conversation with him as well as the weeks roll out. I'm scheduled to have a talk with him as well. He's supposed to be in good health and so on. So whatever assumption I may have had, or others may have, or that you may be hearing about his health, Cindy assured me yesterday that he's fine, she's fine, and they're moving forward with Christie's. So now, last thing, on this, we're talking about the 50th anniversary of hip hop. This is the last thing, ending on the 50th, ending that 50th anniversary. That's what that was. The last thing is I get a call from my friend Curtis Blow. Curtis Blow, these are the breaks. I'll break it up, break it up, break it up. Got a call from my dude. Of course, me and Curtis Blow go back years. In fact, Curtis Blow was at the UN when we declared hip-hop an international culture. He was one of the architects that showed up. He called me up the other day, a few years ago, not even a few, maybe 10, 15 years ago. He and I think a woman named Martha Diaz, I'm not sure, but I know he and others were involved, Chuck D, involved in what is called the Hip Hop Alliance. You guys may have heard of this, the Hip Hop Alliance. The Hip Hop Alliance sparked up right around the time the Temple of Hip Hop was coming up, the Hip Hop Congress was coming up, and so on. Everybody was starting their organizations. We all stayed in touch and even competed in some ways against each other in a lot of different little ways. Ideological competition. Oh, hip hop should be this. Oh, we should be going here. So 10, 15 years later, we work ourselves out and we're more mature now. And of course, the Temple of Hip Hop has been working with all organizations moving toward the further development of hip hop. So I get this call from Curtis Blow last week, the top of last week. Get this call, and he's asking me to lead the Hip Hop Alliance. Basically, what's happening there is the Hip Hop Alliance has become a union. As a matter of fact, it always was, but it is that branch of hip hop, like Hip Hop Congress was that branch of hip hop that was in the universities and was pushing hip hop on the university campuses. The Hip Hop Congress, you was discussing hip hop on the universities. Then you had Hip Hop Alliance, which was really, I mean, they're not taking their cue from what Africa Bambaataa was talking about, but a lot of his vision ended up in Hip Hop Alliance, meaning Africa Bambaataa discussed how hip hop, at least the first time I ever heard it, was in 1987 at the Latin Quarters, when Africa Bambaataa said hip hoppers should have a union. Rappers, not even hip hoppers, rappers should have a union with health care, legal defense fund, housing, some sort of retirement. What's going to happen when we get older? It was a forward thinking, it was a future thinking, but it was 1987 and everybody was stupid. So years now later on, this Hip Hop Alliance actually achieves that. They united with SAG-AFTRA. And don't ask me what that means. We should look it up. Just so I can put it on here. SAG, singers, songwriters, artists guild, something like that, and AFTRA, American Federation, something. We'll look it up, and you guys can look it up on your own as well. It's called SAG and AFTRA. Sometimes it's SAG/AFTRA, and these are acronyms for unions that protect artists. So the Hip Hop Alliance linked with SAG-AFTRA to get hip hoppers in particular healthcare and legal all of what unions do to help and protect artists. So the Hip Hop Alliance managed to what's this? Hold on. SAG, Screen Actors Guild, and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. Right, you got that? SAG is Screen Actors Guild. And I remember SAG as well, because when we used to do Arsenio.
Right, it's anything for television or commercials.
Anything for
movies, stuff that. It's not music in a sense of radio.
Right. Well, it does say radio, television and radio artists. No, but you're right. It's not like ASCAP.
Right. No. Right. Exactly.
It's not
that's to
ASCAP.
deal with your music production.
Right.
This is for artists, as you are an artist on SAG in a commercial, in a movie.
Righteousness. Yeah. And you have to join SAG.
Yeah.
This is not just something that is you get automatically. You have to register. I remember when I first started, my attorney registered me with SAG, and I've been with SAG and AFTRA ever since. And but when we used to do Arsenio Hall, they have a flat rate, of like $175 or $210.30. Like some crazy number. Like you do Arsenio, you never got paid for any of this, but you actually did. You got $210.36. And an AFTRA check would come to you. It'd be $200. You're like, oh, that's what it was. But anytime you appear on television, you're supposed to get some money. And SAG and AFTRA make sure that the artists are protected like that in that sense. And they've won lawsuits as well, winning for artists. They are for the artists against the industry, I would say. And I don't want to say that they're not against the industry. In fact, they're actually a wing of the industry. But their job is to make sure that the industry doesn't rip off artists. That's the job. So I get this call from Curtis Blow on behalf of Chuck D and everybody else who was there, and who's part of this. Oh, and by the way, just as a side note on that, so Curtis Blow had a heart transplant, and recovered, survived on that. He's doing his thing. And SAG-AFTRA helped that to happen with health insurance. So I've been calling out for years about what happens to us when we're 70. What happens to us when we're 60? We're talking about hip hop, you don't stop. Hip hop to the grave. We're going to take this to the grave. Well, what happens to us at 75? The leaders of culture have to be thinking about how we set up programs for ourselves in our older age, because whatever we set up for ourselves in our older age is what our children are going to get. We're setting up hip hop as lifestyle, not just music. So Curtis Blow, Chuck D, they've been down with that since day one. So they managed to manage them. So they managed to get with SAG and AFTRA and expand upon a program that was already there, a healthcare and investment program that was already there. They got health insurance for artists, dentistry for artists. Sign up with SAG-AFTRA and you get health care during this time. Like, we need that. So anyway, I heard about this and I was going to go and see, well, how can I get involved anyway? Curtis Blow calls me up and says, not only do we want you to get involved, we want you to lead the whole program. Of course, he mentioned about how articulate I am, this, that, and the other, and so on and so on. And I appreciate it, especially I even said that, anybody could tell me this, and I would say thank you. But coming from Curtis Blow, there's an extra piece on that. And we laugh. You know, there's an extra piece on that coming from Curtis Blow. But the point is that they felt that I'm the man to lead this campaign to let artists know, specifically hip hoppers in particular, know that there's a service here through SAG-AFTRA for health insurance, investment in older age, retirement, even buying houses and stuff like that. It's a credit part of it as well. Plus, what really brought me to the table was I had said to you guys, and I'm not going to speak long on this because I'm in a public forum, but those of you who have heard me say this will know what I'm talking about. So with these people like XM Satellite and these other people who want to take the name of our culture and degrade it or put our culture out as criminals and all of this stuff, I see the Hip Hop Alliance as a strong weapon that we may need, but I'm saying I, as an advocate out there, I may need this strong weapon for that argument, for this argument. This is an ACLU argument, American Civil Liberties Union argument. This is a defamation of cultural character argument. This is an argument we putting our pieces together to take these people to court. And I thought about it, I said, you know what? They're fighting that same fight. They're not doing the same exact fight, but they're the ones who are putting legislation forward. They up in Congress face. They're the ones, they're a union that's protecting artists from corporate exploitation. This is a wing that I think I may need to fight off these other people here who seem not to be taking us seriously, seem not to want to take hip hop seriously in that way. So the Hip Hop Alliance, I have another phone call with the board to see what they really talking about. And if I really can do this and can lead this. But I'm excited. I want to do this. I want to lead this for all the reasons that I just told you. You know, the Hip Hop Alliance, just the healthcare part of it alone during this time, I think is a message the Temple of Hip Hop should be pushing, especially with the H-Law, health being at the top of that list. And they have health insurance for hip hoppers. You ain't got to pay. It comes right out of your you know, whatever you like. If you're an active artist like me and you appear on TV and these places, you don't even have to pay for this health insurance. It comes right out of whatever you was already gonna get, like that. So I'm gonna go learn the articulation of this, and figure this whole piece out, what they're talking about. That's up and come. By next week, I'll be able to tell you how that meeting went and what happened. But I'm looking at that, the Hip Hop Alliance. We will soon be affiliated, the Temple of Hip Hop affiliated with the Hip Hop Alliance, because your founder and teacher will be leading that organization for a little while, just so they can get the word out. And we can be the bearers of good news. I don't mind being the bearer of good news. Good news, y'all. One of the goals that we had when we were children came true. You know, we can take this into older age. You can put some money aside for your retirement. For hip hop in particular, you can do that. It's one more notch in hip hop as lifestyle as opposed to hip hop just as music. This is hip hop's life. This is the actual culture in that sense. I mean, think about that. Curtis Blow had a heart transplant. Okay, this is no joke. So this is it. Those are all the announcements and the reason why we are not going to read fully our reading today. I'm going to start with some of it and only read for about an hour. And then we're gonna go, and then we'll catch up next week. And now here's why. After we went through all of this, then I hope you got all of that. The 50th anniversary, August 5th. I'm gonna try to get into Christie's and try to get some of everything else I mentioned as well. Grandmaster Flash, as well. You may even see him as part of the Temple teachings as well. Flash is coming in that sense, and others as well. We went over pretty much everything. Big up to the beat miners and everybody else that we're doing work with as well. and you know what the forward movement is in terms of the 50th anniversary. We're looking at 1520, and we're also looking at the global effect of our 50th anniversary. We need to get the word out globally and empower people in specific cities globally. That's the 50th anniversary. So now I have the gospel of hip hop. Now we're going slow. We're gonna go slow with the divine the divine performance. Of course, that's always slow. But we're down by law. Now last week we were reading the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, and I'd snatch this one out real quick. I hope you can see that Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. I want you to see this. This is my little copy. I put this copy. This is a classic right here. Okay, it's a little tore up, but it still works. And the point is that we made about 20,000 of these. Actually, we made more. It's about almost 30,000, but I remember paying for 20,000. But we made more after that. But for certain, we know we put out 20,000 of these. Okay, 20,000 of them. The point was, after the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace was made, we argued the document for a year. We argued it out for a year. Everybody had a suggestion. We did that. And so we condensed it down to 18 principles, and the 18 principles that you see are within this document, the 18 principles within this document. We narrowed it all down to there by about 2002. We had already narrowed that down, but the document still was not out. We had to announce it to the world, sort of like Juneteenth. You're free, but nobody knows you are. You don't even know you are. Somebody has to come and tell you and announce it. So we started to announce it everywhere, at the concerts and so on. So at the concerts and at the lectures, we printed 20,000 hip-hop declarations of peace and threw them out for free to everybody. 20,000 people got these. Some of them I would sign. Some of them, they just got them. We put it online, so you can still get the Hip-Hop Declaration of Peace is online. It's been translated into several languages as well, so on. We want a new artwork. This artwork is old with these people on it as well. That's just the first artwork. Those who are in support, that's why they're there. Those are the people who were actually in support of the Temple of Hip Hop at some point. I put their faces up there as well, and that was it. So I mention this because, well, not and yeah. Well, I mention this also because after reading the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, you go into what is called codes of conduct and law. And when we were doing the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, as I read to you, matter of fact, let me come back on this real quick. As I read to you at the end of the movement, well, I don't need to go back. It was actually at the end of the movement. The part of the movement where we said, after we got up and spoke about everything and everybody said, yeah, nobody did anything. Nobody did nothing. Okay. The one who did something was us. We went back and went and did the work. Now I mention this because when you read the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, what you're reading is advice. These are not laws. This is guidance, protection, and advice. But real law is guidance, protection, and advice. When we first put this together, people did not want, certainly not everybody, but others that were pretty much immature, I would say, could not see the need for hip hop to set a code of conduct for itself. Could not see it. And I find that immature, but I'm not judging. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to do that. But in my own personal opinion, that was immature. You know, we as grown people need to have some kind of conduct for ourselves, something that we know we could trust each other on. You're supposed to be acting like this, and I'm supposed to be acting like this. We call ourselves a culture, but we still playing with it. I wasn't playing with it. I took it right to the United Nations and drew up with everybody's opinion, not just KRS wrote this. No, I gathered opinion, gathered consensus. We put 80,000 registrations and questionnaires out. in 1998. We're gathering information. We asked Herc, we asked Bam, we asked Flash, we went through everything. Matter of fact, take a look at this. This was one of our early registrations. You see this? This was an early certificate of registration. Okay, you see the names on the bottom here? Okay, you see the names here? Cool Herc, his original signature. Africa Bambaataa, original signature. Grandmaster Flash, original signature. And then KRS-One, original signature. This was the original membership for the Temple of Hip Hop when we first started. When we first started, only a few of us was down. And you can see who was. It was Herc, Bam, and Flash. Okay, among others like Dougie Fresh and Chuck D and Roxanne Shante and pretty much everybody you saw at the United Nations. They were all down and they all understood. We got to come around some kind of conduct, some kind of principles, not just for ourselves, but for future hip hoppers. All these other people had all types of stuff to say, all types of criticism. They didn't show up to the meetings, and this is what it is. So right at the top, I say, before we read this down by law, is that if you're not mature enough to follow some kind of guideline, you're in a group, okay, which is called, our culture, it's called hip hop culture, okay? This culture is not just about you or just about me or just about someone else. It's about all of us. So in order for this culture to actually operate, not dream, not rap about it, in order to be the culture for real, we have to agree on some kind of a code of conduct, even if we modify it down the line. Even if our kids modify it down the line, at least you know this is what we know we're supposed to be doing. And this is what we know we're not supposed to be doing. We can't just write that down. Well, we did. And the ones who did and stuck to what was written down are the ones who are prosperous today. Don't sleep on this. The ones who followed this are the ones who are prosperous today. I don't know anybody who did not follow this, and all of the naysayers too. Those who was like, "Oh, what is that? What are you doing?" And blah, 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 blah. Those who are saying that, where they at today? And I'm not, again, you know what I'm saying? Don't put nothing on this. Just be scholarly with it. Everybody who had an opinion back in 2001 about us declaring hip hop a culture and trying to put some conduct to it, where are they today? They're nowhere. And I say that respectfully, but truthfully. I'm not going to sit here in front, and neither should you. They're nowhere today. Nowhere. They're not where they said they wanted to be. No, they're not. But those that did follow this, most of the people you see around this, they successful today. Still, they were successful then, and they're successful today. And we even got Tupac and Biggie on here because they helped us out too in the early 90s. They on here, and they still successful in death. These people are successful. Okay, everybody here helped us out. Here's Curtis Blow right here at the top. See, Curtis Blow right here. Dougie Fresh, Kane, Latifah, Chuck. These are all people. All of us are still successful today. If we're alive, we're still, come on, all of us still doing shows, still headlining, still getting money, still doing our thing to this day. Where is everybody else who had a problem with this? Where are they? And I say that respectfully and humbly. I'm teaching a course in real time, and there's no time to be joking with your life. So when we're talking about the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, we're not just talking about some document that we wanted to put out to put rules on hip hop. Nah, that's immature. We realized what it means to live, and we documented it and put it out to our community so that we can live. And so when we did that, those that stayed with the movement, those that align themselves with a productive code of conduct, they're the ones who are making it today. And all young people listening to me, listening to this right here, you better take heed to what I'm saying. You better take heed to it. If somebody's before you teaching you something and they not successful at their own teachings, why you learning that? I mean, think about that. I mean, come on, no teacher, I cannot come before you teaching something about hip hop. If what I'm teaching you, you cannot see the success of it on me. On me. And I'm not bragging about nothing, but I know hip hop is the greatest culture on earth. This is it, okay? Greatest culture in earth. That is called hip hop. And I'm proud to be part of that culture. And I believe in it so much, I worked myself up into a name called KRS-One. And I now live this. This is what I live. And you can live it too. You got to believe on it like I believe on it. And when you believe on it, whatever it is, whether you're a graffiti writer, breaker, MC, DJ, whatever, beatboxer, you do the fashion, language, whatever you do, you're going to be the best at it. When you master these elements, you're on top of the world, okay? You on top. And I hope I'm showing you that. I hope I'm showing you that. You know, my skill is MCing, graffiti writing, DJing. You know, these are the skills that I come with and have mastered. These are my mastery, DJing, MCing, and graffiti writing with a minor in breaking and beatboxing. But I will never come up to Dougie Fresh talking about our beatbox. Yo, no, why don't you do that? I'm not looking at Crazy Legs or somebody else about I'm a b-boy. No, you do that. You know, Pop Master Fables. No, you do that, okay? But when it comes to that mic, when it comes to MCing though, that thing over there, okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm here at the 15th overstanding. Down by law, down by law, down by law, down by law. MC Shan had a hot song. That's what it was called. Down by law, down by law. 15th overstanding, down by law. This is talking about law, and that's why we're going to go slow. We're going to go slow. I want to probably go through this about 3 weeks because we have to go slow. This is law. Why are we reading about law? Because without law, you have nothing. Okay, we're just a bunch of people running around with no direction. And that's what it's been. And that's what it's been. But right after you read the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, it is only right to go into law. Notice how we're doing it. We read the movement slowly. Then we went over into what the movement produced, which was a code of conduct, which we call the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. And now from that, you know, and I can't forget the activists, of course, but from that, we have now down by law. What does it mean to follow something like this? Well, what does it mean? These are the laws I follow. These laws are superior to all laws. And I'm not just saying that because these are the laws I put together. I had 20 years to live it out. I had 20 years to live it out. I lived this out. I ain't been arrested. Mad rappers went to jail. We in court. Bugging. I ain't. Nope. Sorry. I lived this out. Nope. Thank God I still got my health. Nope. Code of conduct. Lived this out. I kept my integrity. I ain't never sell out, ever. And it's because it is. I ain't never sell my culture out, ever. And it's because it is. I know how to act. I know how to act productively in my culture. That can only equal success. So we're not saying this is the greatest because we're saying it's the greatest. We lived it. We lived it. And we'll continue to live it. And as we are living it and continuing to live it, we are prospering as we go forward. Man, I can't wait to get to London. Y'all playing games. I got this spot called the Jazz Cafe. You need to look it up. Played that place like 8-9 times. We pack it every time we go there. London can't take it, okay? I'm gonna go so crazy on these people when I get in there, okay? It's bananas, okay? Not only is a place called the Forum. I was in there with Premier. Me and Premier packed it out, 2,000 people just to see me and Premier. Then there's Manchester, a little spot called the Chip Shop. These are the gully spots. These are the spots. You grab the mic there, it's over. And then, of course, it's London. You're hitting up, it's London. It's a tourist attraction. You want to be there. You want to be there. End of October. I'll sneak the date on you later. But end of October, that's when I'm jumping across on a cruise ship to set up the 50th anniversary over there. Anyway, so the 15th overstanding. Turn your gospel to page 558. I'm only going to read for about an hour. Turn to page 558, and we're going to start right here. Now, this opens up the down by law opens up with a message to those who are in prison, and this is important because those who are well, first of all, some people who are incarcerated are listening to me right now, and it's important that you get this lesson. It's important that you understand the principles of this. I mean, we're not in prison, we're not incarcerated right now, so in a lot of ways this becomes philosophical for us. This becomes kind of philosophical. But for the person who's actually in prison, or if we know someone who is actually in prison, read them this section of the Gospel of Hip Hop. Read them this section. It is important. It is important. Peace and much love to all my hip hoppers incarcerated right now. It is never too late to change your life. Never. Freedom is only a thought away. And if you are incarcerated unjustly, you will not be incarcerated for long. Know that. You can adopt a new thinking right now and change your environment by changing your thoughts. Do you live in a tomb or a temple? This is real. Your environment must respond to your perception of it. Do not accept your present condition. It is truly temporary. For if you adopt the language and character of this gospel, no prison on earth will be able to hold you. And that's the truth. For when you change your thinking, your environment has to change to match such thinking. This is science. You may be in prison, but prison is not in you. Again, you may be in prison, but prison is not in you. Even beyond a jail cell, many are imprisoned by their own unforgiving hearts. They may not be in jail, they may not be in a jail cell, but their own personal resentment in situations of negativity. G Simone in the house. Personal resentment in situations of negativity, prison, imprisons their growth and development. Now is the time for you to begin walking and talking like a free man, woman, unaffected by the ignorance and immaturity of others, even when you may be in an imprisoned situation. Free men and free men/women cannot be held in prison. Prison is for prisoners. For if you are reading this gospel right now in prison, then you are truly blessed, because this gospel in your hand right now confirms your faith that you shall soon be free. And with this experience, you are now authorized to teach others. You hear that? Don't just sit there in prison and be like, oh man, I'm in prison. Gather up as much knowledge and experience as you can, because when you leave that place, you're actually going to teach others. And even if you have a lengthy sentence, you still can get out. The tables turn for everybody. And that's what you got to realize. Even if you've murdered somebody, did some crazy crime, things can turn around. Change your thinking. Things can turn around. And they always do. Miracles happen every day. Join me on this faith right now. My spirit is with you right now. You are not alone. KRS-One is thinking about you right now, and we are. If you're in prison, this is your section of the gospel. We're thinking about you right now. You're not alone. We're joining you where you are right now. Stay focused and keep your head up. For if you are reading this gospel, you have an opportunity right now to believe in your freedom right now, because I am believing with you right now. I'm sending that faith to you. And what are the odds of this? What are the odds of you getting this word sent to you right now? God is trying to tell you something about your life path at this very moment. Pay attention. You are being groomed right now for a serious work in the world. Simone G. Parker sends this affirmation to you. She advises you to be strong while you are there, meaning stay tolerant, respond objectively, notify God. This formula will get you through this period in your life. Your stay in jail and in prison is truly temporary, no matter what your situation looks like. Keep the faith. You are actually being tested right now. Rise to the challenge. Did you know that the original purpose of prison was to rehabilitate? That in ancient times, when a person broke the laws of his, her society, that person was not immediately regarded as a criminal. Such a person was regarded more as a patient in need of time to think, reflect, and rehabilitate. They need time they were more regarded as a patient in need of time to think, reflect, and rehabilitate. Right, when you committed a crime back in the days, you knew yourself, I need to be locked away somewhere until I get myself together. It was called penance. Such is your time now. You know that you need this rest period, those in prison. You know why you are where you are. Use your time wisely. Use this time to improve upon yourself. Do not walk with criminals if you are truly not one. Walk as a free man, woman. Adopt the character of the one who is willing to help even while in need of help. That's a jewel. Continue to plan your future. See your future self doing what you know your purpose to be. Just because your body may be locked up now, right now, doesn't mean that your mind is. You can think your way out of prison. Try this. Really, you have nothing to lose. Practice these overstandings. Time seems to be on your side. This particular overstanding deals with law and the hip-hop community's approach, or the hip-hop community's opportunity to approach the advantages of law seriously. Now, as you know, this is where this overstanding begins. This is where the teaching begins. The first part of what I just read to you is what we would read to someone in prison. This is the character, this is the attitude that we're going to come with to those in prison, if we know someone in prison, or if you are in prison yourself. This is the attitude that gets you out of prison. Prison is a mind game. You could think your way out of prison. You could convince the mind of others to give you probation. It's all a mind trip. And it usually has something to do with discipline, control of your emotions, these kinds of things. So here we are at 12. This particular overstanding deals with law and the hip-hop community's opportunity to approach the advantages of law seriously. Being down by law actually has two meanings to it here. One interpretation, the original one, informs us that being down by law has to do with holding a certain respect within one's community. The other interpretation has more to do with being kept down or oppressed by law, down by law. First, let's look at this second interpretation more closely. I will elaborate on the original interpretation of the term down by law later. Now, we're going to highlight 13. Highlight 13. Highlight paragraph 13. And the reason you're highlighting paragraph 13 is because it goes with the third principle of the DOP. Matter of fact, why don't we just go to that real quick? Third principle of the DOP, the Declaration of Peace. Third principle of the Declaration of Peace, if you were keeping the notes, you're above the third principle, it should say respect for law. And the third principle is hip hop culture respects the laws and agreements of its culture, its country, its institutions, and whomever it does business with. Hip hop does not irresponsibly break laws and commitments. That's the third principle of the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. It goes with 13. Let's read 13 of Down by Law. Know this, just as there is no peace without justice, there is equally no freedom without law. In fact, the more we understand law, the freer and more secure we become. In this understanding, hip hoppers are encouraged to respect law and seek to be the law-abiding citizens of the countries in which they reside. We want to follow laws straight up and down. There's no reason to break just laws. That's immature and criminal. The Temple of Hip Hop we don't preach breaking laws at all. Now, we will preach that protest against unjust laws, but even unjust laws should be followed. Did you hear what I just said? Even while protesting unjust laws, you should still follow them until you defeat them. One might ask, how do you follow an unjust law and defeat it? By following it. Let me show you how the game works. Because I'll give you the quick answer right here. The one who follows any law is superior to the one that doesn't. This is what you're going to learn here today, okay? The government doesn't even follow their own laws. So how do you get rid of unjust laws? Follow them. So you'll rise above them. In fact, you'll be the one changing them. They can't change unjust laws because they're unjust themselves. You're not even hearing me. Only a just man or woman can change and create law that people can respect and really go with. An unjust government and unjust people can't follow their own laws, and they fall because of it. You ain't got to fight them. You ain't got to attack them. You wouldn't really have to protest. What you really got to do is follow the law. If you follow the law and the criminal doesn't, the criminal falls, not you. That's what I was saying about this. I was saying about this right here. Okay? If you don't follow the hip hop, look, KRS-One and 300 other people put forward a thing called the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. We are declaring peace. Now, if you say, man, what's that? Okay, you ain't for peace. You ain't for this declaration of peace. Not that you ain't with peace, but you're not with our declaration of peace. Okay, no problem. I hope you declare your own. I hope you got some kind of document. I hope you declared to the ancestors also your declaration of peace. Because when we declared peace, we were backed up by 20 years of peace and prosperity. It's the only way you can do this work. 20 years, peace and prosperity. We announced it, and that's what we're living, and we're going to live 20 more years of it. Because this is what it is. So take a look at it. Take a look at it. In this understanding, hip-hoppers are encouraged to respect law and seek to be the law-abiding citizens of the countries in which they reside. When you follow law, you are superior to it. The way you are above the law is by following the law. Do you ever think to yourself that legislators, those who make up laws, okay, they say, no one is above the law. That's not true. The one who writes the law is above the law. And they're even more above the law if they follow it. If they follow the laws in which they write, they are above the law in which they write because they're following it. You're not under the law. The only time you could be under a law is when you break in it. When you break in the law, you are under the law, or if the law is oppressive. Now if you got an oppression, that's law just on you, and you don't know why you got to do this. There's no reason for this. There's no nothing. This is what we want. Marijuana is illegal. Why? We don't care why. It just is. no, we're going to have to protest. We're going to have to break that law, okay? We're going to have to protest. But in the meantime, while you're breaking the law, try to follow it. And many of us did. Many of us did. When they came with the marijuana card, we went and got that. Every loop they told us to jump through, we went and did it. Every okay. But now they lost that battle. Lost. Follow the law. That puts you above it. You are always safe when you follow in law, when you follow in correct codes of conduct. You are always good. Always good. Somebody, and on top of that, if you're known for following law, your reputation is always good too. You're trustworthy as well. Paragraph 14. According to Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition, law is described as, quote, that which is laid down, ordained, or established, a rule or method according to which phenomena or actions coexist or follow each other, end quote. So law is connected to methods, phenomena, actions. Law in its generic sense is a body of rules of action or conduct prescribed by a controlling authority or having binding legal force. According to the same dictionary, a law is that which must be obeyed and followed by citizens subject to sanctions or legal consequences, end quote. Law is also interpreted as a solemn expression of the will of the supreme power of the state. Law can also mean a body of principles, standards, and rules made known to the public by government. In a scientific sense, like with the science of living things, biology, law is a scientific theory that has been tested repeatedly. That's what law is in science. It becomes a scientific law. If you can repeat this, you get the same result every time. A lawful person is one who is free, unattainted, and capable of bearing an oath. This is one of the basic standards that attuned hip-hoppers instinctively hold themselves to. Hip-hoppers are lawful people. Let me say that again. Hip-hoppers are lawful people. In law, we are protected. In law, we are guided. But we hip-hoppers have learned now that every laid down, ordained, or established rule is not necessarily law. We've seen and experienced now the corruption inherent in man-made laws, and this is why our children do not respect today's laws. Yes, we are moral and law-abiding citizens, but in our history, many of the laws of the United States were simply imposed upon us for the control and further exploitation of our people. That's just a fact. We've experienced now the discriminatory practices of not only law enforcement officers, but the very courts themselves. Yes, hip-hop respects law. But when Black's Law Dictionary describes law enforcement officers as, quote, those whose duty it is to preserve the peace, end quote, we can see with the experiences of our own lives how unlawful such officers act toward us. This, in our opinion, is the cause of social unrest and even violence in urban areas. It is not the poor citizens of a country whose cause It is not the poor citizens of a country who cause the violence they are forced to live around. It is actually the incompetence and corruption of that society's law enforcement officers that actually cause violent situations to occur in that society. Stop here for a minute. We learned this with the Stop the Violence movement. When we really did the research on what causes violence in society, one of the leading causes, not just a cause, but one of the leading causes was police misconduct. No trust in the law makes lawlessness. Paragraph 21. Black's Law Dictionary describes police as, quote, a branch of government which is charged with the preservation of public order and tranquility, the promotion of the public health, safety and morals, and the prevention, detection, and punishment of crimes, end quote. That's what the police is supposed to be doing. The police officer is, quote, one of the staff of men employed in cities and towns to enforce the municipal laws and ordinances for preserving the peace, safety, and good order, of the community. End quote. But is this actually how police officers conduct themselves within America's urban communities? Notice the repeated references in Black's Law Dictionary to safety, tranquility, and the preservation of peace. If police officers themselves conduct themselves like this, again, if police officers themselves conducted themselves like this, there would be very little violence in our urban communities. There would be an example, even an inspiration within our communities as to how real law-abiding citizens behave. But the conduct of today's law enforcement officers has clearly fallen short of what they were originally established to do. And this is ultimately why our young people break the laws of their country. In fact, the lawless conduct of our children is in compliance with law enforcement officers and their agencies. When young people disregard the ordinances of their city or state, they are actually following the law, because this is how the law behaves in front of them. However, two wrongs do not make a right or make it right. Just because lawmakers and law enforcers contradict and even break their own laws and ordinances does not mean that we should. In fact, as a socio-political strategy for the further establishment of today's civil rights, it is to our advantage to study and obey the laws of the nations in which we live. Every day, hip-hop has a real opportunity and responsibility to rise to the intended essence of law enforcement, which is to, quote, promote order, safety, health, morals, and general welfare within constitutional limits. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and highlight that. Highlight 25. Highlight 25. That's important. Just because lawmakers and law enforcers contradict and even break their own laws and ordinances does not mean that we should. In fact, as a socio-political strategy for the further establishment of today's civil rights, it is to our advantage to study and obey the laws of the nations in which we live. Every day, hip-hop has a real opportunity and responsibility to rise to the intended essence of law enforcement, which is to promote order, safety, health, morals, and general welfare within constitutional limits, within the limits. Our Constitution begins here. Promote that within, we're promoting safety and all of that within the limits of our hip hop Declaration of Peace. As American citizens or whatever, or, French, African, whatever, your country has a constitution. You should know it and follow it. Period. That's what hip hop is pushing. Okay? Know the laws of your country and follow them. Now, if you learn the laws of your country and you find that some of those laws are unjust, that's when you turn to the activists. You turn to the protests. And like we discussed as the activists and the protests, you're not just fighting against law, you're trying to make things better for your whole community. You've detected a flaw in the law, and now you have to go forward and bring your argument forward and bring your protest and bring your money and bring your resources and your allies and everybody else and say, no, this is a flaw in this law. And that's why we are rejecting it, because you can see it hurts everybody and we need to move forward from this. That's how you protest against law or this kind of thing. You don't just break laws. That every wise person knows that it is better to enter into any battle or argument obeying the law. I'm thinking here right now about how many criminals did get off because the cops didn't follow the law. How many criminals got off? Did the crime, said I did it. I know I did it. But they didn't read you your Miranda rights before you guys did. He got off. The cop, they threw you in the back of the car and broke your arm. No, you got off. Because the cops don't follow the laws. And if we live in a society like that, then we have an opportunity to overcome them by following law. And imagine if the cops followed the law, I couldn't say this. If the police followed the law, their own laws, the laws that they are enforcing, if they as people followed their own law with the uniform on and with the uniform off. Nothing I'm saying makes any sense. Unfortunately, everything I'm saying makes sense. Why? Because they don't follow their own laws. Police, government officials, you can turn on any news. You can stop this and go turn on something right now in the news, and it'll say how the government is corrupt and how the police ain't following their laws and how corporations ain't following their laws and how banks ain't following their laws and how medical associations ain't following. Nobody following nobody's laws. And you wonder why the society looks and acts and feels the way it does. We're all lawless and criminal-minded. Hip-hop needs to go from criminal-minded to spiritual-minded. And we need to take the whole world with us. Because this is what it's about. Like I said at the beginning, you in jail, make the best of it. Make the best of it because you're going to get out. And when you get out, now you got something to teach. Same thing with hip-hop as a culture. We started off criminal-minded. You know what it is. Guns blazing. Okay? This is what it is. But we also became politically active, spiritually minded. We walked into the White House and blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to stay in that low level of consciousness, that low level imprisoning consciousness. You have a right to develop. And that right to develop begins by becoming mature in terms of law. Don't just shirk off law. Don't just shirk off law and say I'm an adult or even a true hip hopper. Now this doesn't mean, of course, this doesn't mean that you live in an urban area and if the police ain't following their own laws, sometimes it's dangerous for you to follow the law. Imagine that, especially like with traffic laws. You know, when I'm driving, I look at the light, but I also look at the streets because ain't nobody looking at the light. Especially if you're in New York, it's a place like that. People walking in the middle of the street. They basically just dodging the cars. Like there's no light, there's no thing on the ground, like the lines in the ground. None of that. It's just walk. So it's like, sometimes you can't even follow the law because the society in which you live is so lawless. Crazy. But you have to have the consciousness and the intent to follow law, even in a lawless society. You be the nerd. You be the one who stands out. But don't harm yourself, is what I'm trying to say. Don't harm yourself. Sometimes I'm driving and the speed limit is clearly 65. So I'm trying to hit that 65. Actually, I'm trying to hit 64. But there's a school of, say, 50 cars that are doing 75. And for me not to get hit, have an accident, this kind of thing, I got to jump up to at least 70, 72. Keep up with the flow of traffic. So those who drive, you know what that is. You get with a group of cars flying down the road, everybody flying down the road. It's actually safer for everybody to be flying down the road at 75 and a 65 than for 2 or 3 people to be trying to obey the law and everybody flying past, whoop, 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 and they going past. So this is law. This is the law. The issue with law is your intention. That's the issue with the law, is your intent. Sometimes we break laws. We don't want to break them, but we have to. We live in a lawless society. But what was your intent? My intent was not to break the law. My intent was to protect myself against lawlessness. Paragraph 26. But this means that we hip-hoppers must stop terrorizing, disrespecting, and intimidating the police officers in our own communities. Yes, we make the police in our communities afraid and fearful with our own lawless conduct and blatant disregard for their presence. All across the United States, we make it known that we are willing to injure and even kill police, and such conduct make them afraid of us. Such fear then manifests itself into the shoot first, ask questions later attitude so many police officers express while patrolling our neighborhoods. That's real talk. Many police officers go to work every day, not sure if they are going to make it home at night. And so the only way to ensure that they will make it home at night and make it home at the end of a day is to overwhelm us with flashing lights, loud noises, tear gas, tasers, and guns. All of this, however, exposes how fearful the police are when they are around us. And that's a prophetic line right there. You don't have to underline it or nothing. But imagine back in 2009, we're writing about this. And what we're writing about is that we're making these cops afraid. Now, what is the line today? I was afraid for my life. I shot him 500 times because I'm afraid for my life. I shot him in the back because I was afraid for my life. He was running away from me and I shot him because I was afraid for my life. There's 6 of us on this one little boy trying to get in his car and escape the cops. I shot him in the seat, okay, because I was afraid. No, this is look at what's going on. I was afraid. Now, look at the Texas shooting. Cops afraid to go in and deal with the shooter in the school. Afraid. Okay, let's keep it real with what this is. Let's keep it real with what this is. Okay. All of this, however, exposes how fearful the police are when they are around us. This relationship is not healthy for anyone, and it is time for the hip hop community to mature past this level of communal immaturity. For it is not so much that we must do their jobs for them. It is more the fact that if they fail to execute their jobs well, the whole society with us in it falls for lack of safety, health, morals, and peace. We hip hoppers have an opportunity to lessen the tension within our own communities by becoming more lawful than today's law enforcement, which isn't that difficult to achieve. We're gonna highlight this. Instead of protesting unjust conditions within our nations, why not try being more lawful than those who attempt to oppress us with their own fears and unjust laws? In fact, if we would simply respect our own hip hop laws and principles, if we would just respect our own hip hop laws and principles, as well as the laws and ordinances of the nations in which we live, we would not only be stronger and more organized than today's law enforcement officers who do not follow their own laws and ordinances, we would lessen the fear and stress of certain police officers, lessening the amount of hostility we experience as a result of such high levels of fear and stress. Why don't we go ahead and highlight that whole 28? That's a strategy. That's a strategy. If people say, well, what is hip hop stance with the police? And well, what is it? All we hear is that they hate the police and abolish the police. No, turn right to the gospel and say, yes, 99.9% of us want to abolish your ass straight up. But here I am I am a temple member. I am an attuned hip hopper. I am a true hip hopper. Let me bring you to the gospel. And this is what we really think. This is what's written down, and this is what we really think. And what we really think is we have an opportunity to lessen the tension within our own communities by becoming more lawful than today's law enforcement, which isn't that difficult to achieve. Instead of protesting unjust conditions within our nations, why not try being more lawful than those who attempt to oppress us with their own fears and unjust laws? In fact, if we would simply respect our own hip hop laws and principles, as well as the laws and ordinances of the nations in which we live, we would not only be stronger and more organized than today's law enforcement officers who do not follow their own laws and ordinances, we would lessen the fear and stress of certain police officers, lessening the amount of hostility we experience as a result of such high levels of fear and stress amongst them. In truth, there is no need to fight against those who have already disrespected themselves by disrespecting their own ordinances. Such a group cannot last anyway. So even though, as hip hoppers, and that, you know what? Go ahead and get 29 too. Go ahead and get 29. Highlight 29 as well. That's actually the same thing. So even though as hip hoppers, we are encouraged to obey the laws of our nations, we also have come to understand that many of the laws we are obeying are only to be obeyed because of the legal harm it may cause us at the moment. In a society riddled with corruption, greed, and incompetence, law is really a matter of what the corporate powers that be decide and want. As hip hoppers, we know that true law cannot be broken. True law, in this sense, is simply the reality or condition of a person or thing. True law is not to be obeyed, it is to be understood, imitated, and used toward the easing of human suffering. In essence, law is the natural condition of things, and once you know the natural condition of things, you discover the laws or ways that govern those things. Go ahead and highlight that as well. Yeah, yep. It's 32 as well. Grab both paragraphs, 31 and 32. Here's 32. Real laws are like abilities. They are the abilities of your existence. That you should just ponder on that for a minute. Real laws are like abilities. They are the abilities of your existence. They are the explanations of who you really are and what you are really capable of achieving. That's real law. True law doesn't just tell you what you can't do. It also tells you what you actually can do. In fact, you are a law unto yourself. You create with your decisions, words, and actions the conditions, laws, that shall govern and guide your life. That's real. That's the real. Hip hop is the law or condition of the hip hopper. Let me say that again. Hip hop is the law or condition of the hip hopper. Those who understand and obey this law bring more of this law into their lives. In fact, when you are in harmony with the law condition of your own being, you discover the true power of your true nature. Black's Law Dictionary talks about police officers as those hired for preserving the peace, and law enforcement officers as those whose duty it is to preserve the peace. If we became our own law enforcement officers whose duty it was to preserve the peace, not only would we inherit the ability to lawfully detain hired police officers when they engaged in misconduct, but as law enforcement officers, we become the preservers of peace in our own communities. This would dramatically lessen violence in urban areas. This is the solution to urban crime and police misconduct. We hip hoppers have to become our own law enforcement officers. In fact, isn't it obvious that we are being led off to prison not because of crime, but because we simply don't care about one another, so there is no protection of one another? Crime means that you don't care about your neighbor, and such conduct invites outside forces to seize upon your resources and impose their laws upon you. Know this. The essence of police power actually secures generally the comfort, safety, morals, health, and prosperity of its citizens while ensuring to each an uninterrupted enjoyment of all the privileges conferred upon him or her by the general laws. It is then obvious that when we obey our own hip-hop laws and show a higher respect for the general laws of our nations, we naturally inherit police powers, even to the point of policing the police. The repeated references in Black's Law Dictionary to morals in the enforcement of a community's laws and ordinances suggest that the police are supposed to uphold, protect, and even promote the general morality of the communities in which they police. They are not, in essence, authorized to impose a certain morality upon a community. They are authorized to uphold the general morality of the communities they police. Did you get this? But if the community in which they police practices little to no morality unto themselves, law enforcement officers are indeed authorized to establish the law and order of the state over the interests of that immoral community. That's what we're dealing with. We so wild and crazy and have no respect for each other. So these other clowns come in and say we are more law-abiding than they're more corrupt than we are, but they're not. They at least give the appearance that they're following some kind of law. We don't even give the appearance that we're following law. It's actually cool to not be law-abiding. So now you give these clowns a chance to come into your community and say, you're not following any law, so we got to put law on you for our own safety. Not for your safety, but for our safety. Because you don't follow no law, so we can't trust you. We don't know what to tell you. We don't know when to tell you you're wrong. We don't know when to tell you you're wrong by your own standards. So we're going to tell you when you're wrong by our standards. That's what we're dealing with right now as we speak. That's what we do. That's the state of law enforcement in the United States as we speak, and around the world, as we speak. The police are in our neighborhoods because we have no respect for each other, period. You can talk George Floyd. You can talk Derek Gardner. You can talk this one, that one. Those are crimes. Those are literal crimes. But what about us? Why is this murderer even in our community to begin with? See, we can't deal with that piece right there. Nah, Chris, see, now you trying to put the blame on us. Nah, he a racist. Okay, you got that. That's cool. We can all see that. But what about you? You see, we don't want the cop in the neighborhood at all. At all. But in order to do that, we got to be a crimeless society. You hear people talk about abolish the police all the time. Abolish the police. So if you abolish the police, let's take that argument to the final conclusion. So we are a crimeless society then. Abolish the police, no more crime in our society. We love each other. We are now neighbors now. We're going to actually act like neighbors and actually act like citizens. And there's no reason for the police to be coming in, saying, doing nothing. We don't even need to see y'all because there's no crime here. Now, realistically, is that really what it's going to be? Or is some idiot going to be climbing through your window the minute the police going, oh, yeah, they're going to start stealing and robbing your car? That's what most people think. That if the cop ain't around, it's going to be just mayhem. And there's some truth to that if you take a look at the attitude of people right now with the cop there. With the cop there, okay, you still acting crazy. Can't follow no laws. And I'm not talking about just these corrupt laws, these other laws. I'm talking about robbery, theft, murder, you know, these things, deceit, fraud, these things. People are doing this to people. Black people are defrauding black people. Black people are robbing black people. White people are robbing white people. Native Americans are robbing and raping and killing and deceiving Native Americans. I could go down the list, okay? Ain't nobody's community neighborly. Nobody. Nobody. Either you are an individual and you don't even talk to your neighbor, or you are a criminal. You're climbing through the goddamn window, trying to get to somebody. This is what we're living in. This is what we're living in. I stay with my clique and my clique only. And that's where we at right now. There's no neighbor. There's no stranger. Like you a stranger and I'm a stranger. We meet each other and we automatically know we supposed to be at peace. No, two strangers meet. So two looking at. You'll be looking at me. Oh shit! Wait a minute. What? Right. This is where we are. This is where we are with it. And you got to think to yourself, is this really the life we supposed to be living? Just think about that. Is this really the life that we supposed to be living? Well, I guess that's a personal question, and you just made me ponder it. Actually, is this what kind of life are we really living? Really? Let me I'm gonna conclude here. I'm coming up on the 3-hour mark, and I want to go slow. I want to go slow. What I want to do, because this is starting to go into police powers and following of our own laws, and this is yeah. Let me just stop here for a minute. As a matter of fact, let us pause at let us pause at 36, paragraph 36. We're going to pause right here. Righteousness. We're going to pick up right here again at paragraph 36. Know this, the essence of police power actually secures generally the comfort. We'll pick that up next week. Let me end on this because I want to bring this home. I want to bring this home right here. And we highlight 31 and 32. Okay, 31 and 32. Paragraph 31 and paragraph 32. This last part, Black's Law Dictionary talks about police officers as those hired for preserving the peace, and law enforcement officers as those whose duty it is to preserve the peace. If we become our own law enforcement officers, those whose duty it was to preserve the peace, not only would we inherit the ability to lawfully detain hired police officers when they engaged in misconduct, but as law enforcement officers, we become the preservers of peace in our own communities. That's what I want to end on. I mean, it's this other piece, but I want to end on that right there. We have to become the peacemakers in our own community. We now know that others are not going to do this for us. We now know that others are not going to do this for us, so we have to do this for ourselves. This is what it means to be part of the Temple of Hip Hop, to be part of the hip hop city, to be part of the hip hop community. We follow laws, we follow rules. In fact, that is the meaning of citizenship. I'm following the rules. You ain't got to tell me to follow the rules. I'm following the rules. Following the rules, I am a citizen. I'm not just saying I'm a citizen. You can see that I'm a citizen in my conduct. So I want to conclude here because law is nothing to be ashamed or afraid of. In fact, it moves you forward. And when you know the law that governs your life and you're able to you discover more about yourself. You discover a lot more about yourself. And this is what's important. This is what this lesson is leading to here today. So I'm coming up on that 3-hour mark. This is where I wanted to stop. This is where I wanted to stop right here and pick up next week. Everything that we discussed, we'll pick it up next week as well. And I'm going to cut it right here. And thank you for being part of this. We're discussing law. We're going to go slow. And I'm going to show you some stuff about law. So far, what we're talking about here, I just want to make sure we make this clear. We got to be better at law than law enforcement officers. We got to follow law more than the law enforcement officer. We cannot allow criminals that are dealing with the law to have a monopoly. We cannot allow criminals to have a monopoly on law. Right now, these criminals have a monopoly on law, and because we're not following law, they just could tell us anything. We're without law, and they are not following their own law. Now we have the condition we have in the United States. Hip hop can be better than this. Hip hop will be better than this. So there it is. I am the teacher, KRS-One. And I thank you for listening to me today. As usual, Son One is going to take us out with maybe some closing remarks and some possible videos. And I'm going to see y'all next week. I got mad work to do this week. And I'm going to get it all done. I'll see you next week. This is KRS-One. I'm out.
Yes, sir. Peace to God.
Peace to the God.
Peace and much love, everyone. Another wonderful reading by our teacher, KRS-One. Let me first say, I'd advise everybody to really re-watch the beginning of this video, of which teacher brought up most of the new activity that we're going to be involved in very shortly, or actually not even very shortly, right now. We're involved with right now. Several different things, several projects coming up. Hip Hop Alliance, which is very huge, very big. We shout out to Vicious Technique, who was actually in the midst of sending inquiries into the Hip Hop Alliance. I know it was brought up at least 2 weeks ago on the organizational call, which shows that we are in alignment with what's going on. And now we see we're going to be much more involved with them, period. Or we were inquiring to get involved to find out what was going on. And lo and behold, they called us and said, we want you all the way involved, by, of course, the tenure of our teacher, KRS-One. So we will have all the information that we need and be championing that. And that is so incredibly important for those practitioners of hip hop and the heirs of hip hop who are just being born and haven't been born. That this is, or teacher's been saying it or forever, that hip hop is technically can be a lifetime employment. And not only that, now it's turning into lifetime employment with benefits and retirement. if you really want to, it's hip hop. You don't stop. We don't really retire, but you get what I'm saying. Or should the need be, health wise, then that is an option now, and that is a beautiful and wonderful thing. Again, you now know about our direction towards the 50th anniversary of hip hop. The Temple of Hip Hop is going to be promoting globally, not just here in the United States, but our reach as an international culture of peace and prosperity is global. So why not put that to use? It only makes sense. And so our movement very likely will be going back and forth from here to the rest of the world. And so you all should be prepared. Just know that opportunities are going to come up to help and to join in these festivities. So hopefully your life pans out that way, or that everything works out to your favor. But of course, as we know, no, it already is. Even if you can't attend physically, it's still working out in your favor. You are where you are supposed to be. So never forget that, even though sometimes if you can't be involved physically, it hurts. It hurts. But you gotta get over that and know that God will put you in the right place exactly at the right time. You already know good things come to me easily in peace and at the right time, and there it always is. So that being the case, between that, the Flash project and our teacher KRS-One is an amazing um, occurrence period for hip hop. All three natures of it. It is a wonderful thing to hopefully be a part of that as well, which you are because you're in the Temple of Hip Hop. Shout out to everybody in the cipher. The cipher is hot. Shout out to Time Journey. Everybody, I shared it, and people are commenting, or they know it's real. It's real hip hop. It's dope. Very, very. You guys all were put in a very nice light and complimented each other as it went back and forth, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do. They could be calling you whack, and they're not. So take that in and look at that as an accomplishment, and continue to sharpen your sword. Keep practicing, get better, master your craft of emceeing. Shout out to Raharu with the beatbox. I'm still trying to get that. I'm working on that. That shit was hot, straight up and down. And I told them too. So with that, let me just speak on this down by law for a minute, because as many of you may know, I had a run-in with the law recently. Not too recently, but recently enough. Recently enough to know that no, I was loose with my declaration of peace, really, and the principles in which I found myself in a jail cell with nothing but a little mat on the floor, toilet in the corner, and that was it. And the real feeling of I can't do what I want, and it's something that you really that's something that you don't want to experience it. Just the feeling of others being able to control your life, especially as a grown man or a grown woman. You don't want that. And the fact of in that system, they don't care who you are. They don't care about any good that you've done. You make one mistake, or and it's and they could care less. They really could care less, and that's what you have to keep in mind. And that's why I found myself in that position, especially in going to court. And it was like, wait a minute, I'm a good person. Like I care for all these people in here. I care for everybody in the world. Like I'm a good person. I made a mistake, and they couldn't give a fuck whether I was good or anything. Didn't even ask. Didn't say, hey, before we pass judgment on you, we're gonna need some character references to make sure that we're keeping our place safe. And that's where you got to understand what the trick is that they're not their aim isn't necessarily to keep us all safe. They're using this really you could say, you could go all the way there, is to say no, they're using laws in order to have slaves. Have slaves. If you look up in law, or where the procrastination proclamation was put down, it says clearly that okay, there could be no slaves or just to have slaves, or no ordinary person can have slaves, but slavery is legal in this prison. To whereas no, if you get into the prison system, you could be a slave there, and everybody agreed. And has yet to change the language, amend it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. No, slavery has its own law, in a sense of that. No, as soon as if you enter there, if you go through the full process and end up in that prison, you're a slave, according to them. And of course, nobody is a slave. But you're enslaved, or they by quote unquote by right have you enslaved, or can tell you what to do, when to do, make you work, and this, that, and the third. So understand there's a lot of work to be done in that sense. And possibly could be addressed in our hip hop declaration of peace, maybe, in some shape, form, or fashion. But or to give more rights to those who are put into prison. That take that, get that slave out of here, or that's incorrect. And what about rehabilitation? That's where you got to see. No, the efforts. Of course, there are good people within every system, always trying and this, that, and the third. But the original system is a colonized or colonistic system, of which they're down with slaves and they want slavery, and they found a way to slip it through, and it's been continuing for over 100 years. So keep that in mind, that it is no joke. And of course, as soon as I was in there, I was reminded, or I just couldn't get out of my mind that the prison was in me first before. And so I had to go within myself and deal with that and say, well, okay, well, how did you manifest this? How did you get here? Or how? Especially with everything that's going on. How? But the things that it showed me in there, mind you, there was nothing but, or when I was in the jail, it was nothing but black folks. Moving people around and this, that, and the third. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I was like, or for one, the feeling of nobody can't jail me, or put me behind bars and restrict my freedom, or you being a grown human, I being a grown human. Nah, that's not how this should go down. And then my brother, or my quote unquote brothers and sisters, is moving me and doing that work. But then when the person to come give judgment on me was not one of my brothers, and this, that, and the third, and they're following orders from them, and nah, it didn't add up, or it doesn't feel right within your soul. And unfortunately, I guess really the only way to really feel like it is to go in it. And to see it for yourself. But take it from son one. Don't do that. I'm telling you what it is. I'm not lying to you. So that being the case, it's just like, nah, you see the whole system, and when you're really in that, and you know that these people can take your life, or just take it away from you, and it's insane. So really pay attention to this down by law, that Declaration of Peace. Again, a masterful document. I would even say, or others would probably say, no, that's a document way before its time, but long overdue at the same time. Look at that. Before its time, but overdue for everybody, not just hip hoppers. And that's another point that you got to keep in mind, is that the principles in our Declaration of Peace, the entire world should want that to be law, for real. and then maybe we can get to some of these other laws that are, I guess, archaic or just stupid. Doesn't make any sense. But so with that, again, practice your elements. Practice your elements. Oh yeah, the organizational call. Or teacher mentioned that. I'll leave off with this because I don't want to have to say it on the organizational call when we get together tomorrow night. Now, of course, what happens with the organizational call normally in its occurrences, we start off deep. Get up there, there's like 20, 30 people. Next week, 22 people, 18 people. Next week, 15. And through our experience, we realize, okay, that's what it is. And mind you, that'll dwindle all the way down to 8, 6 even by the time, or depending on what's happening. So we invite you all again to take this seriously. Take the Temple of Hip Hop seriously. Take your gospel of hip hop seriously. And know and understand that the things that we do that give, or now, or you're hearing about all this activity that is getting ready to take place right now. We actually already have committees that essentially line up with what a lot of the things that teacher mentioned as far as what we're going towards. Now, you have to take this time out of your life, just like you're taking today out of your life, or this moment right now. If you really, really, really want to be involved, you have to take that time out of your life on Monday night, every Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. And again, it can't be in and out. You can't just come in because you hear albums are being created or now travel is about to happen. You have to get your priorities with hip hop correct. There's no lies being told to you as far as the continuous activity of the Temple of Hip Hop's involvement in hip hop culture. That things are always happening. You should be doing something technically every single day for hip hop. In a sense, if you're that serious, that's where that organizational call comes to. That's where the other stages really activate within the Temple of Hip Hop, the templates, the attuned hip hopper, the MINISTA, the hip hop cultural specialists. You have to be involved. It can't really be, if it's part-time for you, you're gonna get part-time results, if even. Because really part-time, it doesn't equal up to those who are really sacrificing their time and their mind and their thoughts, the most important thing, their attention. Paying attention, paying with your attention. That is the currency of the entire earth. That is the most valuable thing, your attention, your mind, what you're thinking about, what you're putting your energy towards. So let's get clear. Let's shake it off and say, all right, right. Because opportunity, it's always been here, see, and that's the other thing. You just gotta keep it real with yourself. Keep it real with yourself. Again, if right now is not the right time for you to commit like that, then it's just not the right time. And we understand that and respect that too. There's no fault for that. But this is a huge, huge opportunity. This time, understand this time, hip hop will never get back. We're 50 years down the line. Now you can start this. because we are the true school artists. It's here. It's here. This is the time. Most of us will not make it to the 100. So no one understand that. You better it's time to get busy. Shout out to Boom Bap Nation. They ran our Hip Hop Appreciation Week special on Boom Bap Nation on Facebook. They got, I think, at least over 1 million people following them on that. But that's circulating now. They let it run in a loop for, I think, 2 hours straight. So it probably got off 8 plays going along, and people are reacting. So go out there, support them, or they help support us. They pretty much did it for free. They've been doing or sharing a lot of our stuff for free. So support them. They support real hip hop. Shout out to Golden Era Hip Hop as well. Those are it's an establishment over in Germany, I believe. And whenever we call upon them, they help us, or they help our promotion to help get the word out. So this being the case, you already know what it is. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. Pray for your people. Meditate on God and the life of Jesus. Shout out to MLK. and your brothers and sisters and all that you care about. Try to forgive somebody this week. Forgive somebody today. Really. Call somebody who you haven't spoken to in a long while. Just say what's up. Say peace. Give somebody love. Share the love. Give the love that hip hop is giving to you. Peace, so much love. You know what it is. We out.
Yo, peace, much love, what's up? It's your brother Lifted, representing the Temple of Hip Hop Flow Faithfuls. Right now you're tuned in to the BDP.1 Parking Lot Cipher. Check this out.
Another suffer, I'ma make it pop, homie, just watch. Death ripping on his track with the action and Mr. Spot. Jot another to the page for my timing is up. For a while, I've been down and out, stuck in a rut. I got to break out, my fake out, gonna leave them confused. Stay away from that propaganda, that ain't news. Shit ain't new, they gonna do what they intended to do. False flagging operations, but pretending they true. On a mission here to keep the people cold and afraid. Quick to put your ass away if you go stand in their way, or come with something to say. Whatever happened to that freedom? A piece of an illusion from a vision that's fleeting, man. They ain't opening their phone calls or picking up letters, defeating any opposition that's gonna make this shit better. Inside a lobbyist pockets is where you're finding their profits, and it's all according to the law. So how can you stop it?
It's okay, it's all right, it's all good, it's all love. Here once again, giving thanks to above. Focus on myself, got no reason to bug. From the north side, and we repping it tough, like point blank. You don't really want it with us. Young cats don't know, so I'll be the plug. Supply you with the product that you know you could trust. Yo, big up to my peeps. Don't know, yo, what up?
Hip hop is in our hearts. This is the perfect time. This is where it starts. The perfect cause of rhyme. We get permission to the sacred flow. Wholeness is divine. Time to run the show. Harder than the sun's fair. Stronger than the grizzly bears. Mighty lion of Zion. The one to keep your eye on. Chosen one of God. Tetragrammaton. Sober living clean at the mucky pond. I got the wisdom tongue. Spreading ancient knowledge. Open heaven's realms. Peaceful like a cottage. Talking with the better than the sisters angelic. Delicate mystic. Truly psychedelic. Arrive to this earth like a whirlwind twister. Adjust your eyesight. Fix it in the mixer. Burning so bright. I shine my holy light. High velocity when I spit it on the mic.
Check it, Ra Haru, let me tell you what I'ma do. I'ma uplift inside of you. I'ma uplift you into the higher you, so you understand what I am trying to do. I'm not trying to do, cause this is the proof. You look at my life and that's what it do. You gotta be inspired, takes you much higher. Peace to the temple, gods of the choir.
Hey. Look, see, I'm trying to profit when they can't stop it. They want to sweatshop it. I'm trying to rooftop this. Roadblocks in my way. I see them every single day. We need a non-stop movement. more than just improvement. For all of God's people, not just the top percent, cause I'm doing the math and it don't make sense. I keep doing the math, that shit don't make sense. I keep doing the math, shit's don't making no sense. But see, first you wanna judge me, then you wanna hate me, increase your bottom line, now you're telling me you love me. Made it your jurisdiction, my greatest competition. The jury and I never even shared the same diction. Frivolous tickets in these city limits, no summer programs and safe places for us to kick it. Hollywood wanna make me just so they can break me. They wanna study me and they don't even wanna face me. This is for the struggle, this is for the hustle, this is for your struggle, this is for your hustle, this is for our struggle, this is for our hustle. I'm closer to my dream, reaching it on the double like a whopper, they say. From the Bay to LA, I'm closer to my dream, I'm doing it God's way. I'm closer to my dream, I'm doing it God's way. I'm closer to my dream, I'm doing it God's way.
One love, check out how we buzz. Look at where we been and look at what we does. Every time I come with flight, I do it from above. And never been a scrub, I always been on top with the game, on top with the flame. And you know I'm insane with the brain like propane, like boom. That's how we gon' make the impact. And the class in session, cause it's actual facts, can't one.
Birds of a feather, you know we flock together. Temple of hip hop farther than ever. You can't see it now, but we already building, cause it's love that we got in this community.
Yeah. Yo, this community, what does that mean? That means this is you and me. But get rid of that for a second. It's I, it's you, we're both I. Catch that one time. Hold up, it's all one. Add a D to it to get the job done. Don't forget the A, that's me. That's AD1. I just got the credential straight from the temple. True hip hopper.
This is how it is, this ain't no Peter Piper. This is the LIFTID. When I grab the microphone, yo, I get so nasty. Please, these whack MCs, they don't have a chance. Yo, you looking whack like your pants fell. Yo, coming through the place, yo, my style's well. I do it like that, yo. I'm trained well by the Most High.
Don't get it fucked up, just get it pumped up. Break the crowd up, let's get this shit up. I'll put the hood on for this hood mentality. I'll bring it back for all the black reality. This ain't no show, this reality. This how we give it every day, it's the mentality. Over above, understanding, this is what it is, reprimanding the weak MCs that be planning our demise. Look into the eyes of the real. You don't want to feel this, but you will get killed, blah, blah. The love will kill you. Lush out, this what love gon' do. This is the real, this is the real with the temple. Get back, J Best, I'm back in the circle.
Back in the circle, back up in the cipher. I go higher cause I'm here to inspire, activate the move in action. And yes, just J Bless, and I'm here to bless. Microphone check, checking hip hoppers from here and there, on tour from here to there. I'm flying here and there, yes, you can stand. It's desire, nobility, and check the oneness. When I go, I flow like water, yes, you must know, cause you must learn. And this is how I flow when it hits the spirit, I flow and I just go from city to city, activate a move and action, cause this is a culture and better be the representative. Call me Rip the Record when I rip on the record. From here to there, this is how we do it. I share the love.
Pastor, scribble on your mind, doodle on your idea, divide countries like Korea. You need a pill like PHILOSOPHER, can I reach the higher ground like Stevie Wonder found? Preachers keep on preaching, but the world's still falling down. But I got faith. You can't take this from a man. It can make you feel better than the $1 Million Game Show can. And damn, feel the vibe like a carnival ride. Merry-go-round. Pound for pound, you will slide out your seat. Therefore, dancing to the beat with authority. People thinking Surpass is going to make it, are the majority. Major, serious like Cake Crusaders. Old school like Papa Pac-Man. Space Invaders. Undoubtedly, it's the unadulterated, underrated Surpass flavor. From the Denver, Colorado, it's the wildlife steez. Unique. The gay peas, the nosies, the cream of the crop, the black sheep, the beat. Get out the way. It's our metropolis. Heavy loads like concrete trucks when we be dropping this preposterous. To think that you could get with the temple of hip-hop when we drop our hip-hop.
On the beat we explore, man, this is kind of like a mushroom spore growing into a whole mycelium forest. Then it's gonna come up and give us health, wealth, and knowledge of self. When we're off the dome, you know, every time we spit it's flame on the microphone. Yeah, we don't stop and we don't quit. Instead, we just sit here with our kids and rip it, yeah.
Cool, calm, I don't miss no steps. Cool, calm, ain't no disrespect. Yo, hey, let me spit it like this is true, cause I'm KI00 shooting you. And it's trill as hell when I get on through. It's my time and I'm shining blue. Before I even get dressed, man, I'm fresh to death. I'll take a second to myself and let my thoughts collect. Bet, bring it any way that you want it, but this is me. I ain't moving with the trends of the time, and as you can see, fly, rhyming MC, R-double-E-P, tear it up and leave the spot broken down, my G. Cause it's that sound that's free that I'm about to put on display to get the crowd steady moving and vibing a certain way. Y'all can play, but I ain't really got the time for it. My lyrical flask is always filled when I pour it. More is always gonna get given. You can say that I'm fresh, and I don't have to rock a halo just to show you I'm blessed.
Who me, J Solon in the scene, and I've been bringing it, they cleaning it, yeah, they tell me I'm too mean, or maybe I'm just trying to tell them I ain't trying to fiend for the things I don't need. I've been living in a motherfucking dream, better believe this everything I need, everything that I see all around me. It's the G to the O to the I inside of me, but then the D don't decide to fuck with it. The temple's beast and we coming in this scene, better believe we looking through our third eye. It's clean, serene dreams is everything we need. Believe this is what we gotta perceive, so get with me. It's just
I'm here right now with my peoples in the room. Shout out from my boy Joey, you heard it before. We come through like Ron, yo, we kick down the door. You want more, explore hip-hop, it's the sport. Like, you gotta train and get better every day, and this is how we do, yo, listen what I say. You must learn, on the mic we burn. This is how it is, your position gotta earn. Give praise to God every day. This is how we gonna do it. On the microphone we slay.
Back in the cipher to take you higher. The name is Desire, nobility, so connect the wire. This year is on. I'm taking everything that's mine is more. I'm blessed, yo, and I just want more. I give you that rugged raw, yo, straight from the core. I'm here to give you more, and I'm banging in your front door with the rugged raw, and I'm here to give you more of that love. Cause this is what we bring, it is the H law, the love that comes within. I spread it all around, the energy, you say it all in the cipher, and I'ma take you higher. You wanna know the name, you already know it's Desire.
Real hip hop is over here. Real hip hop is over here. Real hip hop is over here. Yeah. Life is a dream and I'm the dream master, kicking up cosmic dust in my rapture. Yes, I speak, therefore I am. Life is clay inside our hands. The world is a kingdom full of stars. Carbon beings, that's what we are. Yes, we exist because we can. If life is a beach, I'm playing in the sand.
Love, man. Love. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm old school Denver, like just the fellas. And DJ still look for surpassed acapellas. Gray hair in the beard, still fresh to death, so don't trip. Regarded as the north side of Denver Q-tip. So ways out, ways out, ways out, out, out. My catalog of rap songs still get clout, clout, clout. Flav over 40, break it down like this. An acronym for the people that would make the most sense. Forever.